Hi, everyone. Hi, Shibby.
Hello, how's it going?
Good. It's morning here, up fresh and ready to
Oop,
go for the day.
sorry, I had YouTube on. Sorry.
That's okay. Hey, Charles. Hey, Adrienne. I don't know if anyone else is out there, but hello, everybody. This one's an impromptu. I am going to do the later, to me, more interesting discussion. Oh, hey, Pertinent. Good to see you. Um, we are going to do the later, more, like I said, more interesting discussion, which is going to be referring to the forensic unicorn argument. But I know I said I wouldn't do any more phone stuff for a bit, but I just noticed something else that confirms our theory. Oh,
I
Adrienne said a ton of questions. Hey, Critter Mama.
oh, Critter Mama too. Look at all these mamas.
I
Adrian
know we
Mama,
got all the big names in here.
Hurt Mama, Adrian Mama, and Critter Mama. Hey, mamas.
And I'm gonna make you a mod pertinent because we've been saying we're doing it and we haven't. So I'm gonna do it while we're talking today. So watch this space, you'll get the wrench. So okay, just ChatGPT told me that I need to tell people the kind of what's the word now? I can't even say it. The tagline at the beginning of the video, so that people don't listen to all of this and not know what we're talking about. So what we're going to talk about very briefly today is one final piece of evidence, I believe, that supports the idea of the cold shock theory and the phone dying at 5:45. Yes, it flickers back to life briefly at 4:33, and this document supports both of those things. Now, the reason that I haven't talked about this before was because I have tended to rely on the wonderful collation of all the phone evidence that All Eyes did. And hey, Lola, and basically that document had the AT&T live pings, hey Mustang, to which basically law enforcement was sending out to find the girls after they'd gone missing. And I hadn't seen this historical location, I guess, ping document. Now, I'm not going to use technical names for these documents because I don't have the technical vocabulary, but there are two documents. We're going to talk about the difference between the two of them, and we're going to talk about why I now understand why Mike Patty says the phone was pinging all around town, because this is what it looks like from this document, but that is actually not technically the correct interpretation of it.
That
Okay.
yeah. 1 second. That sounds great with me, but I just want you to know my StreamYard is showing something weird. It's
Oh,
only on my StreamYard. I see a live, like I see the square for the what you're showing on screen, and I'm also see us again on the
oh,
left of it.
that's the new thing that started today. It's now showing us in portrait and landscape mode. Just click on underneath the video. You
Ah,
should just,
mhm.
yeah, just get rid of the preview because it is confusing. I had the same problem.
Okay, so I can get rid of one. I don't see the option, but it's okay. I'll figure it out
It,
now that I know.
yeah, it's
Plus,
shift
also,
Anthony.
what happens is when I keep I put it in full screen on one of my screens, and I keep kind of moving my mouse in case so I can unmute real quickly, and I have a big
Yeah.
banner across the bottom, so I miss a lot of stuff like that because I keep it the banner with the
Oh,
microphone and all that.
yes. And also, I just realized maybe we are accidentally streaming twice because I'm streaming profile and landscape.
I can't remove it, but I don't want to confuse you. I don't
No,
know if it's bad.
I
I
don't
don't
know if I can
now.
remove it either, guys.
I
Sorry.
don't I don't see it on YouTube. I have another browser open that I'm watching, and it looks perfectly fine. So if it's not an issue, don't worry about it.
Yeah,
I only
sorry,
see it in
guys.
StreamYard.
Yeah, next time what I'll do is I won't support the other version. I don't know why it's doing that. It's so weird. It's something new that happened on StreamYard today. Like when I loaded StreamYard, it had this Mars thing and it said we're on Mars and said something about doing vertical and landscape. So apologies, guys. But if you're in the normal chat, that's probably the best space. And if you can have the option to put it on landscape, that's probably the best. Although if you're on your mobile, I suppose you would be watching it portrait. I don't know. I'm not good with this stuff. Hey, Polygraph, nice to see you. Hey Dom, nice to see you too.
Hey, Dom, what's up, buddy?
I'm actually struggling to even open it on YouTube. So yeah, I'm not having a great
I,
time with this.
I have it open on YouTube, and it looks perfect. And also, I have it on StreamYard. I just full screen the what's that again? the small one. What's it called? The portrait one, and it works perfectly
Yeah.
fine. But they're both
Okay.
up
All right.
for me only on
Okay,
StreamYard.
cool.
I don't think anyone sees it.
Okay, cool. All right. Okay, so there we go. I've given Pet the wrench, and now we're going to get into it. Okay, so as usual, we've got our disclaimer. Like I said, I'm not going to read through it in a lot of detail. You guys know I'm not an expert, just talking about my own opinion and research. So, yeah, you guys all know that. Why are we doing it? For Abby and Libby, of course. Those girls are always front and center, as is Rick. So, one of the things that people will say when I'm I guess suggesting alternatives is that it's so important to get this right for Rick because he's sitting in jail, and I totally understand that. I mean, that's why I've created this entire channel and website and all of this information, because I think that if we can accurately understand what's happening for the phone data, etc., and all of the evidence, and that's the way that we actually can help Rick, right? Because I know that some people feel that if the phone dies at 5:45, if it's not moved from the woods, and that means that it hurts Rick's case, and it doesn't, because at the end of the day, there's plenty of other evidence that supports that Rick isn't the perpetrator of this crime, and relying on evidence that can be debunked is not going to help Rick. That's actually going to lose credibility, and potentially, if there is a retrial, this could be actually stuff that could lose the trial for Rick again, because who knows if someone in the jury has some understanding of AT&T pings or Knowledge C, and they're like, wait a minute, there's another alternative here. I mean, I'm not saying they would necessarily, but an expert witness could. And so at the end of the day, as much as we'd love it to tell a story that seems completely exculpatory for Rick, if the data doesn't tell us that story, then believing that because we want it to be that way isn't helping, if that makes sense.
Right. But if the jury is anything like the last jury, I think they're going to be so heavily influenced and pressured and even planted or whatever by
Yeah.
these people that no matter what happens, it's never going to work in his favor with this type of biased situation.
Yeah, for sure. And I think the problem is, again, we're going back to confirmation bias. We've got the bias of the people who are state kind of what's the word? Allied to the state. Gosh, I'm terrible with finding my words these days. Allied with the state versus the people who are allied with this the kind of idea of Free Rick Allen. Now, I am in Free Rick Allen, as everybody knows. It's it's the banner of our YouTube channel. Like I said, it's the reason I started all of this, and yet I just can't look at this data and say, oh, it's been, definitely tampered with. The phone was definitely on. The phone was plugged into things, because that's not what the data is showing. And I know, again, I said this yesterday, I'll say it again, it's a bold claim. I'm going against expert testimony in the trial, but in my honest opinion, from all the research that I've done, I'm really still trying to get a digital forensic expert, someone who at least can speak from their own training on this, to come on the channel so that they can confirm the things that I found on the blogs and websites and various information online. But anyway, I hope everyone can keep an open mind, because again, on this channel, we do sometimes share things or make interpretations that are at odds with other channels. However, I think what you'll notice is what we do is we will always double test, triple test, check the other alternatives. Yesterday, if you were with us on the live, Shibby, right, we literally put in other alternatives and said, could it be headphones? Could it be a SIM card being removed and all of that? And it basically came up. Oh, did I put that on, or was that me doing it after the show? I can't remember. But anyway, we did test it out. We showed that this is not just an idea that we've come up with, but that actually we've run it through various AI tools, which I know isn't the only thing, which is why I'd love to get an actual digital forensic expert to look at it too.
Yeah, sounds good with me.
Yeah. All right. Anyway, let's quickly just jump in and look at this, because I do want to get to the more interesting forensic psychology stuff later this morning. We will do a separate live for that, by the way, guys. So leave this live and go into the other one when we start the other video. I'm not going to continue it all on the same one, because they're two different topics.
Or this evening for us people stuck in the past.
Oh yes, sorry. Yes, sorry. I forget that, don't I?
You're 16 hours ahead now, so remember of me. So you're 17 hours ahead of Abby, you're 18 hours ahead of like Dave Owl,
I
and you're
know.
18 hours ahead of Dee Dee. And wherever Dee Dee is, she's gonna when she catches up to you in the
I'm
future.
so far in the future. And actually, time
Yeah.
zones is actually incredibly important for our discussion today. So good
Oh
points
yeah.
to kick off with. Now, guys, in the chat, I won't be watching just because I'm still getting my head around this. I literally just found this document this morning, my time, and it's still morning. So I'm still trying to figure this out. I was trying to figure it out as I had a shower and made myself somewhat presentable. And so I'm still figuring it out. So I probably won't read the chat just because I need to kind of concentrate on this. It's not something that I know a lot about off the top of my head. Okay, so
I'm watching chat. Don't worry, everything's perfect.
perfect. So I'm actually going to close off chat on my screen. I'm not going to see it at all. So just keep talking though, and Shibby, let me know if anyone has a comment or a question. Now you're not going to probably be able to read this on screen because my goodness, it's tiny, even on my screen. But if you can, awesome. It is a defendant exhibit. It's defendant exhibit QQQ. So it's one of the trial exhibits. So if you go onto All Eyes amazing GitHub, you can go to the exhibit section, go all the way down to defendants exhibits and go down to QQQ. And this here is from there. And what this is historical precision location information. Now, this is from AT&T. There are basically two lots of information from AT&T that we've heard about when it comes to the girl's phone or Libby's phone that evening. The one that I was aware of, which was in the All Eyes, all the phone info PDF that she's made, is the other one. The other one is basically a live pinging where they're basically trying to locate the phone. So law enforcement are doing a handshake, I believe, with the phone every 15 minutes to confirm its location. Now, if you look at that, the location coordinates do not change throughout that time. And there's a reason for that. Okay, we'll talk about that in a minute. But basically, that was what I saw. And that's why I said, well, it continues to ping through the night, but that actually is not dependent necessarily on the phone being currently on. Okay, so
One sec.
that
One
there.
sec.
Oh, sorry.
One sec. Two superstars have showed up. Charles and Nicole. Hey guys.
Hey guys, nice to see you. So yeah, so the first type of pings, not the one we're talking about here, is the one that we've seen in All Eyes document, and they are. I'm actually just going to read this because I don't want to make it sound like something it isn't. See if I can find a plain English definition of this. This is so confusing. Okay, they're called tail pings. They're live attempts made by AT&T after the phone is missing. And the phone doesn't necessarily have to respond in order for that ping coordinate to be registered. It's just the network keeps reusing the last place that it saw the phone. Okay. So when they started those pings, the phone was not dead because I think they started those pings, I don't even know, actually about 5 o'clock or something when the families went to the police, but the phone is off by 5:45. So it just keeps updating the exact same location. Now, also, it would have done that even if the phone was on because the phone was most likely at the exact same location throughout that time. Okay. So that's the document I'd looked at. That wasn't particularly suspicious. And that was something that had already been considered in our theory. However, now what we've got here that I hadn't actually noticed before is the historical precision location information. And what this is a document that is developed with the historical location. Again, let me pick up my phone and read the actual definition of this so that we can all understand this. So, should be all good. I just saw I had a message come from you. I hope am I missing something?
Oh, no. I was kind of trying to get the other three people. In our group Discord.
I see. That was for the mods. Okay, cool.
That was for the other three people that are missing in action. Sorry.
Okay, cool. Okay, so I'm just actually trying to give you the definition of this. So like I said, I'm doing this in real time with you guys too. So that's why I'm not as prepared as I usually would be with this. So this is a different document and okay, so think of this like your phone's cellular diary. It quietly logs where your phone was when it was alive and doing normal things like calls, data, background syncs. This record is automatic. Your phone doesn't know what's happening. Its only update it only updates when your phone actually talks to the network. So when the phone dies, like from cold shock at 5:45, it stops talking. And this is called NELOS, NELOS, stops too. So later investigators can ask AT&T to pull this past data, which is why the report says historical precision location information. So in short, this is the phone's automatic while it was alive history. When the phone dies, NELOS stops. Okay, so these here are the phone's actual logs. So the phone had to be on for this. Okay. So then the next thing to look at is the connection time. Okay. Now the connection time here is actually not in Delphi time. And so this is why it looks confusing, because it looks like it's logging from 9:33 a.m. It's logging from 7:05 p.m. on the 13th of February right up to 9:33 a.m. on the 14th of February. But in fact, when you do a correction of the time to Delphi time, this is actually 2:05 all the way to 4:33. Okay?
Oops, I was talking, sorry. Okay.
Does that make sense?
Perfect sense. I was just on mute talking to myself.
Okay, which means you'll see if you go through all of these and correct them all, then it goes 2:05, then it goes 2:06, 2:07, 2:08. So this is where the girls are moving. Of course, they're moving across the bridge. 2:15. So that's the bridge guy, after the bridge guy video where they moved. 2:19, 2:22, 2:24, 2:31, 2:37, and then we've got 3:08, 3:14, 3:52, 4:06, 4:12, and it goes all the way up to 5:44. Okay. And what you're going to see here, though, is that the coordinates are kind of bouncing around a bit during that time. Okay. And then they stop at the very same spot here. I don't know. Can you guys see that on the screen?
Oh, yeah, I see it.
Okay, cool. So if you can see that.
Sorry.
No, it's super small, but if you can see it here from line 13, 1 to 13, the coordinate stays the same. But prior or after that, because it's the way that it's done is backwards, we see that it jumps around a bit, not a lot, but a bit. So this is while the girls are walking. And this here appears to be the last time slot where there is the movement coordinates, and that's at 3:22, I think it is. 2:22, sorry. I'm getting myself confused here. 2:22. So it's a 5-hour difference here, guys. So this is 5 hours. So we time correct at 5 hours at 2:22 is actually, and this is interesting, isn't it? Because actually it's saying 2:22 is the last time the coordinates is different, and then beyond that it stays at the same coordinate. Now that doesn't necessarily mean they stopped then, because essentially the location isn't super accurate necessarily, but it basically, you can see though, this is plotting at least some level of movement, and from here on in it's quite static. Sorry, I've got an itchy nose from the pollen. I think it's because it's springtime. Apologies for my nose itching.
Yeah. And I just we had a blast of snow here today, so we're diving into deep winter. -2 Celsius right now.
Oh my goodness, that's a big difference. But yeah, I get a really itchy nose. It's so annoying when you just can't stop itching. Okay, anyway.
You'd like the cold, because I had to go out and shovel, and just it really it really invigorates you. Like when you have to go out in the cold and come back into the warm. I know people hate it and that, but it really is. It really can grow strong men. Good Canadian men. We're hairy, we're strong, and we'll fight a bear for you. And it's great. I think you'd like it. Sorry.
Yep. No, fair enough. Fair enough. I was just checking if anyone in the chat was looking at any of this stuff, but I think they're all taking it in perhaps. But yeah, so does that make sense, Shibby? Can you see how like between 205 and
Well,
222 we
honestly,
see
here, first of
yeah.
all, sorry. Honestly, on YouTube, can you overlay the chat so people can go full screen? Because if I keep chat up, I can't see those numbers. And on StreamYard, since we have the double thing, I see two small ones of this screen. So
Mm.
those numbers, they look like dots to me.
Oh
I
no. So
can't
what
see
do you
them
mean
at all.
overlay the chat, like put the comments on the screen?
Um, yeah, you know how they have in StreamYard, I think you can choose to, like you just did. Yeah. So now,
Like that?
look, yeah. So now people on YouTube, at least, if they have one screen, can go full screen, or they can turn the chat off and it's on the screen,
Yeah,
So
there
that's
we go.
better
That's better. And
for
it
you.
only really gets rid of it, like it only blocks a little area
No,
out, which isn't that important anyway.
no,
Okay, so if
but
we
it makes us
literally
a little, it's
Yeah,
better.
if we
Sorry.
literally track these coordinates, they don't make a lot of sense. I did do it on Google Earth and it shows it bouncing around. And that's because the accuracy you can see can go up to 2,500 meters. So that's going to actually show some logging in the town essentially. And this is why I now think that Mike Patty says it's bouncing around town. However, I don't know because I mean he said that fairly. Didn't he say that when the girls were still missing? And yet this here is from the 20th. So I don't know. Maybe they got. I don't know if they could get this at the time. But essentially, it looks if you plot these coordinates on Google Earth, it looks as though they are literally bouncing around. They're not. It's because of the lack of accuracy of this, right? This is from the towers, and so the triangulation is not particularly good. But what it does indicate, I think, even if we don't say, oh, they moved at this exact point and then they moved here and then they moved here, but what it does show is that there's no movement here. Okay, so that's the first thing to look at. There's no movement here either, right? But this is between 205, which is around the time they're taking photos as well. So you can see it doesn't move from point to point because it's not a sort
Ooh.
of real-time accuracy, if that makes sense.
Yes. Can I just jump in quickly and say we have a mysterious Independent 7 investigator. Hello, Independent. In deep. Independent 7. Welcome. Hello.
Welcome. So first point to notice from this document, guys, is pretty much well, two things. One, this time, don't take this at face value, -5. This is not Eastern Standard Time, which I believe is what Delphi is. Shibby, you're better with that stuff.
Well, yes, between November 2nd and March 2nd, we are Eastern Standard Time, EST, so we're -5 UTC
Yep.
of Central Time, and in the summer between March and November, we're daylight time, which is only -4. But all this is going to be EST, which
This
is the
is
standard
February.
time,
And is
-5 standard
GMT
time.
UST?
Pardon me?
Is GMT UST?
GMT would be, I think, I'm not sure the GMT, but anytime we're in North
Let's
America,
double check that.
well, I can tell you what, if it's mountain time, that might be how, because anytime in North America for us, we have EST, Eastern, Central, Mountain, then Pacific. So we put the S in the middle when it's standard time. When we've gone back to 1 hour between November and March. That's EST is standard time. We're -5 of UTC.
Okay. Well, I just looked it up. GMT and UTC are the same.
Now, okay, so GMT is the UTC, which is the central, which is this, universal time,
Exactly.
and that's the one we all stick with.
-5 here.
You're what? Sorry.
Which is why we're -5 from these times here. So that's why this is 4:33 and this is 2:05.
Mm-hmm. Because we are on back to standard time. We fell back 1 hour just 2 weeks ago or whatever to standard time. So we're negative in Eastern. We're -5 in Central. I think it's -6, and and then -7 and -8 for DD of universal time. Sorry.
So going back to how that's relevant here is we can't misread this then. This is not 7:05 Delphi time. This is 2:05 Delphi time. So what we're seeing is that the phone is pinging pretty normally and giving location events right the way through. And the coordinate seems to sort of stop flat though around this point here. Okay, which is 2:31. Oh no, sorry, 2:24. We don't see a lot of movement from then, but it also says location accuracy unknown. So that doesn't mean that in this
Ooh.
tiny gap here, it doesn't necessarily move
Can I
at
jump
all.
in?
Yeah, of
Can I
course.
jump in? We'd like to give a shout out, first of all, Quietly Concerned. Hi, how are you? And they jumped in with the GMT, which is the Greenwich Mean Time. So hello, Quietly Concerned, and thank you for throwing that in
Good
chat.
to see you quietly concerned. Lovely to see you, and thanks for that. So yeah, for sure. So what this is overall saying is that the phone was moving fairly normally, and it was certainly operating and functioning really normally through this time. Here, it's still functioning because we've still got some pings here. However, the location accuracy is unknown and it's staying on the same coordinate. And then the major thing in this is this here. Can you see there is a big gap? Right? 2244, which if we minus 5 is 544.
Yep.
And then we've got here 933. So we've got this big gap between 544 and 433, which is exactly what matches with what we've seen with the Knowledge C data as well.
One sec. Hello, Casey Jakes. Welcome. Sorry, go on.
Yep. Hey guys. So again, we've got this big long gap where the phone is not pinging. Now I know this is where people then say Faraday bag, etc. We've already talked about that in the previous few videos. Instead, this is when the phone dies. This is when the phone flickers back on very, very temporarily, because then we don't get any more pings again afterwards. So I've written a little explainer as usual. I haven't written it. I've got some help writing it, of course. And let's go through it. So AT&T's Historical Precision Location Information, (NELOS) report lists the network's own tower-based estimates of a phone's position whenever the carrier detects or attempts to detect the device. The times are in GMT, as we've said, and Delphi was on Eastern Standard Time, GMT -5. So if we convert it, it basically spans from 2:05 p.m. to 4:33 a.m. Okay, so let's go down. So afternoon activity. So every tower record before 5:45 p.m. corresponds to moments when the iPhone was still powered and transmitting. And each of the lines shows the network receiving a real radio signal, a data handshake, registration, or call trace from the phone's baseband modem. So actually, this is what I got wrong before. The other one isn't a handshake. The other ones are sending out, are you still, where are you phone? But it doesn't require a handshake. This is the handshake one where it requires both sides to be active. Okay. So that's why the entries appear regularly throughout the afternoon. And this is just a time correction that we can see. So around 2:05, we see some movement near the trail. We see 2:07 walking northeast. I think it's actually walking southeast, but anyway, don't worry too much about the exact data here because I'm just reading it. I'm thinking it's probably not quite correct. Because we've already talked about it on the real actual document. So the coordinates though show real movement only in the early cluster.
These are.
Sorry?
Oh, sorry. These are lots of numbers, but I just like to say my coffee is perfect and I feel great and chat is popping and everyone's being great. So that's all I want to say. Sorry.
Okay, perfect. So basically, don't worry too much about those specifics on that I just showed on the screen. We look at the real data, and basically what it's showing is movement, and then it's showing it kind of locking. I don't know if I'd say lock tightly around that position because, of course, the variance of the information is pretty. It may be quite low accuracy, but it does seem as though it then kind of stops and stays in the same position. So it indicates really that the phone most likely stopped moving, I would say, before 3 p.m. And it remains near the same tower through late afternoon. Now, again, I think this is basing it on there being much better tower data. I didn't actually say that there's only two towers when I generated this little explainer, so we can fix that. But basically it's showing that it generally does seem to stop around the 2:30-ish mark. And then it remains near the same tower throughout the late afternoon. And then it doesn't ping at all after 5:44 until we get an overnight entry at 4:33. Okay, so at 5:44 p.m., the phone's voltage collapsed, according to our cold shock theory, as its temperature dropped. Again, I needed to double check this document before I went online, guys. So we will update this. It's not that the phone collapsed just because the temperature dropped then. It's because of the fact that it was limping on after the initial cold shock at, around 2:18. Because the shutdown is abrupt, though, because it's not a power off, it's not user initiated, there's no clean network deregistration. So the carrier kept the last seen tower record, even though the handset was no longer transmitting. So basically that's where we get those other pings through the night, where we get that location estimate. But essentially it doesn't ever do a handoff. So I kind of think of this as the phones where they hand off from one, location to the next. So this didn't do that because it just shut down suddenly. And so the lone 4:33 a.m. timestamp is created on AT&T's side when basically there's at least a flicker of radio signal. So a tiny voltage recovery or SIM handshake. So the single early morning record fits with either a momentary battery flicker or a network database update, not proof of active use. So I think it's most likely a real handshake, but from that flicker of signal that gets powered by the flicker of energy at 4:33. I haven't said that very technically, but if you guys are following the whole cold shock theory, you know that what we're suggesting is that at 4:33 a.m., the phone flickers on, the ions in the battery stabilize enough for it to try another reboot attempt, and it starts to initialize and update and receives a couple of texts and things, but then it shuts down again. So clearly it does connect with the tower, but just momentarily, and then it doesn't have another ping after that. So, yeah, I'm not going to read through the rest of that because that's basically what I've already said. But
Whoa, 1 second. Heather Brown. Yay, Heavy. Hi, Heather.
Hey, Heavy. Okay, so now I'm going to just go back to the comments section and see what everybody's thinking. What are you guys thinking? Does anyone now who didn't believe the cold shock theory and that the phone died at 5:45, have I convinced you guys? I hope so. Not that I'm trying to convince people just for the sake of it. It's just that it makes sense. And I think when we interpret the data using all of the official documentation as well as understanding the digital forensic stuff, this is basically, to me, the most logical evidence-based conclusion. I've convinced Adrienne. That's a good sign.
Yeah, I was just going to say that. I was literally jumping in to say that.
Because Adrienne is a very smart person, so I'm glad if she sees it that way, because I trust her. Not that anyone else isn't smart. I didn't mean it that way, but I just mean she's someone who I know likes to look at evidence and research and stuff.
She's reasonable, so she
Yes.
thinks that it's very plausible. So we're not trying to convince you in that words. We're just, if you want to just consider things and then tell us how you feel, we can all just have some great ideas and maybe learn more new stuff we never even thought of. So yippee do that.
Exactly. So yes, I'm not suggesting that anyone who doesn't agree with us is wrong and unreasonable and not clever. I'm just suggesting that I'm curious to see what other minds in this chat, who are all, clever, critical thinkers, what you guys think. Okay, Casey Jakes says not convinced. Okay, Casey Jakes, let us know if you're not convinced. Certainly let me know what's making you hold out on this as well. Again, no one can be 100% convinced. I'm not suggesting that because we don't actually have access to everything. But I'm really curious if people still have reservations about this. What might be those reservations? And because then we can answer those as well, because that's the whole point of, I guess, us continuing to discuss this. It's going, okay, let's go over all of the possible angles. So for sure, please let me know.
Do you want to address some questions? Because I'm feeling better just working all this technology and kind of, so people are asking questions. So Independent 7 has asked if Rick used the same phone number, all the calls and texts would still be in the database?
Yeah, so when it comes to Rick's phone, I mean, look, it's been a while since I've looked at all of that stuff. That was sort of the geofencing stuff that we looked at a few weeks ago or a couple of months ago now. Um, I think the problem is that if they subpoenaed, which they said they did, the tower dumps, then they should have it, and they could potentially marry that information up with geofencing. If they subpoenaed the geofencing, which I strongly feel they probably would have, then yes, absolutely, there could still be data there that could have been in discovery. So the lawyers may even still have access to it that could be double checked and show the location of Rick's phone in a similar manner to this. But hopefully, if you get to this, isn't very accurate, this sort of stuff, the cell tower stuff from AT&T. But what is going to be super accurate is geofencing. But even if you didn't have geofencing, if you have the tower stuff like this, you can still see when people are moving around, and so I think you'd still get a behavioral timeline. So if you want to understand a little bit more about what I think about Rick's phone, definitely go back to the geofencing live that we did. I don't remember exactly when. I think it was September. But yeah, I'm hopeful that there is still some phone evidence. That's the one I want us to dig into. That's the one that I think is going to help Rick, not this one. Unfortunately, I don't think that Libby's phone holds the key to potentially helping Rick.
1 second. OMG, we have Stephanie. I like
Hey,
to call it Steffi. So hi, Steffi. Welcome. Nice to see you.
lovely to see you. Okay, guys, more questions. Keep going, guys. Questions. Anyone who's not convinced, let me know.
Again, convinced is pretty strong because you're even for me. So just, very plausible, and we're totally with you. And we're considering every angle, in my opinion. That's just how I see it. But
Yeah. In
you
terms of
convinced me that
yeah,
you're
sorry,
making a
Shibby.
lot of sense. No, you convinced me that you're making a lot of great sense. So I know that much.
Yeah. I think in terms of if there was a burner phone, yes, absolutely. With a burner phone, you would still imagine that it should be showing some sort of phone tracking, I suppose. Not tracking, it would be in the tower dump still. When people talk about the phones that pinged around the crime scene, I believe they're just a ping. They didn't remain in the crime scene area. And also, again, when we're looking at this, the accuracy, I think for the cast report was something like, I can't remember, was it 100 yards? So it's still not super accurate. So it could be someone who's at the cemetery parked in the car park could potentially ping it. It could be someone driving past. So my understanding was those 3 phones that pinged near the crime scene, the ones that are in the cast analysis, none of those 3 people were suspicious. They were ruled out. So they weren't any of the people that we all may suspect, or many of us may suspect, because I think that was firmed up that they were not suspicious people. And no, Mustang, geofencing isn't 100% reliable, but it's a lot closer. So you probably usually then be able to get within, a range of maybe a few 100 meters, as opposed to the cell towers where we can see here we've got one that's like 10,000 meters, right? So it's really, really poor not resolution. I don't know, estimate accuracy. It's interesting as well because I was thinking, I wonder if like this location accuracy unknown part here, I don't necessarily think that the phone necessarily stopped at the crime scene finally at that point. It could do. That could be a possibility. Maybe they did cross the creek earlier and the cold shock theory that I initially had is correct. But even if it didn't, it seems like this is when the location accuracy starts becoming compromised. And again, I don't wonder if that could be related to low voltage and cold shock and stuff as well. Who knows? So Casey Jakes is saying his phone was with him at home. Look, this is according to Jerry Holman. And Jerry Holman, if you actually, I've done a little video on this too. Jerry Holman, what he says does not make sense in that deposition, because if, first of all, if Rick's phone was showing at home all day, then that in itself would be probably quite suspicious, because he did say he had his phone on the trails. But secondly, Holman doesn't seem to understand the difference between tower dumps and geofencing. So yeah, I wouldn't necessarily trust that too much. Mustang says you can't triangulate using two towers. It is, yes, you're 100% right. The cast analysis used geofencing and tower dumps, I believe, in order to triangulate the phones in and around the crime scene.
Well, of course, you can't triangulate without 3 points, but you can still get estimate
You can still get an
with 2.
estimate.
Even with 1, you can, because these towers are somewhat directional, and then the ping is by time, so they can get the distance and the time the ping takes to go to the device and back, and plus it's semi-directional in 3 quadrants. But if they have 2, they can definitely get closer, and triangulate is obviously best.
Yes, exactly, because there's the different phone sectors. Now, I think the problem here is our good friend Scott, who wasn't here, he actually told me the locations of the towers and the sectors, and unfortunately, from his calculations, the trails, the crime scene area, and Rick's house are within, I believe, they're covered by the same 2 towers with overlapping sectors, which is really unfortunate if it's true, because that makes that hard. But I'm really still hopeful that we can use a combination of geofence and tower dumps for Rick specifically to estimate, where his phone was. So I think it's possible. It won't be 100%, you're right, Mustang, but it could still give an overall, as I say, in the geofencing live that we did a while back, is that you could at least create a behavioral picture. Even if you can't get the exact location of where he was, you can see, was he standing still for, the entire time during the crime? Does it look like there's no coordinate change? Does it look like the coordinates are changing quite rapidly? Kind of like what we can see here, that these coordinates, whilst not accurate, they're giving us a general sense that the girls are moving and then they stop. Right. Whereas, if these later times there was lots of different coordinates, I'd be thinking that they're still bouncing around a bit. And if you plot these coordinates, that's exactly what it looks like. It does look like they're bouncing around. I'm mindful that we're going over time and not going to do the forensic unicorn, but that's okay. I'm happy to stay on this because I'm so passionate about this, because I know that a lot of this stuff just gets dismissed as though we're just trying to agree with the state, but I'm agreeing with the evidence, and that's not the state. You can see I don't agree with the state on most things.
You know what? It's perfect. It's perfect. You just keep going. I could go do another 2 hours like this, because chat is so enjoyable, and my coffee's perfect, and I feel great. So I'm enjoying. I forget I'm even on here with you. I'm listening away. So
perfect. Well, yeah. So I think we just keep talking then, and I know I'm procrastinating the forensic unicorn again, but I'm happy to keep talking about this, because I feel like this is all the buzz at the moment. We've been talking about it a lot. Obviously, other people have been talking about it as well, and I just, I've been on this theme of the importance of not engaging in confirmation bias. And I know everyone will be saying that I'm kind of going towards this cold shock theory against all else, but we've explored everything else. If you followed the journey with us, you're not arguing, Mustang. Of course not. No, you're just stating your opinion, and that's totally fine.
No, of course
so
not.
Yeah, everybody's allowed to.
Everyone is awesome. I'm so enjoying. I literally keep forgetting I'm on here with you, and I'm just trying to type away in chat. So.
Oh, Scott's here now. Yes, Scott. Sorry, we did another impromptu live that came up because I found this document. I don't know if you've seen this before, Scott. Let us know. Scott's very into all the evidence.
I don't see him.
Technical know-how. He just
Where
came
is he?
in.
I do not see him.
Well, you should know what he's doing. You're tracking him.
I'm trying. I thought he slipped past. But I don't see him in chat at all. You have me blocked, Scott.
Have you blocked Scott? You didn't like him anymore.
I haven't. I don't block anyone. I love everyone. I just
I
don't
just
see
wish we
him.
could get Scott to come and talk with us up here because he's got some really good
Are you sure
scientific and technical know-how.
he's not in chat unless he's
He's
showing up
definitely
on
there.
Google?
He's
I don't
definitely
see
there. He just
him
said ha
either.
ha ha no.
I do not see him on mine at all. On both of mine. I'm
Adrian
logged in
can't
on
see him
my.
either. No, Scott wouldn't
I
block
do.
you, Adrian. Scott likes you, Adrian. I know
No,
that. He would
listen.
not have blocked you. You guys, I don't know what's going on.
He's not showing up because I'm looking on my also on my super secret alt account that I watch chat with, so I can tell people. And Scott
That's
is
so
not here, guys.
weird.
So don't. Scott is not in
Oh,
chat.
oh my gosh, I've just realized it. Because Dom before was saying he couldn't see the chat. The people with the next to their name, I can see everybody, but the people who are watching it portrait can't see the people who are watching it landscape talking.
Well, that's not true because I'm watching both of them and I can't see him in either. I'm a mod and my alt is a mod. I'm on YouTube through my browser. I'm on StreamYard and I'm on my iPhone. So I'm three ways, and he's not showing up for me at all. So wherever you're
Are you
seeing,
literally trying to say that I'm like having I'm
where do you see
delusional?
Scott?
I'm imagining my
Show
friend
me.
Scott. He actually doesn't exist.
But where do you see him? Because I'm in all three places and I
I
don't
see
see
him
him.
in StreamYard. Can anyone else see Sarah? That's Scott as well, because we're calling him Scott, so other people might see him, but they don't know they're seeing him.
Um, oh, I
You're
see
right,
him
he's
on
not showing up in
StreamYard
the YouTube
only.
chat
Wait.
on my
I,
phone.
I, I see him on StreamYard only. And he said, "What's the document?"
Yeah,
I know your game, Shibby. I only see him in StreamYard. I don't see him on my iPhone as Shibby. I don't see him on my computer in Google on YouTube as my secret account. I don't see him. So he's only showing up in StreamYard, guys. So if you'd like
yeah,
to send a message, Scott, for whatever reason, you're not showing up anywhere except StreamYard. So that means you're probably
yeah.
in that. He's probably in that little portrait mode. Is that separate? That chat?
I think it's separate. I think because I think now I feel like poor Dom was in there too, because Dom was
Oh,
back when you were saying it was weird, was saying it was weird too. You don't exist, Scott. You're my imaginary friend. Sorry.
wow.
He's saying, "Am I
Scott
here?
says,
Do I exist?" What happens if I put his comments on the screen? Will that show?
um, I
There you
think
go.
so because I see
There,
him.
he
Yeah,
exists, guys.
there
He's
you
not
go. We'll have to
imaginary.
do that. Yes, because he came in. Wow, he's been in since 6:30 at least for us. So he's been in for 4 or 5 minutes at least, and I can see all his on only on StreamYard, nowhere else. So
See how this is the thing. This is what's showing us how digital stuff is really hard to follow, right? Because it's just like that. I don't even know what's going on. I'm not going to use this next time. I'm not going to use the two modes. It's ridiculous.
something's going on. Yeah, because
The
I don't even
Mustang
see him.
saying there were two lives going on as well. Like, yeah, I don't know what's
Uh,
going on. This is ridiculous. He
so
says he
if
has
there
a
is
name
two,
backstory for imaginary
well,
character. I don't think so.
well, there's definitely Scott. If you must be on, yeah, he's on mobile. I can see a little mobile thing on StreamYard beside his name.
Yes.
So if I see
Okay, so
anyone
you
else,
know what? Because
it's
Scott's
hot.
being difficult, being by coming on in this different way. Anyone who has that, I'm going to put their comments on the screen separately. So you're going to see
He's,
the normal
yeah,
comments on the right hand side, and on the left hand side, you'll see Scott and whoever else comes in on that mode.
I'll let you know if I'll watch the StreamYard chat, and if I see that little mobile thing, I'll
Oh,
let you know.
okay. I know what you need to do, Scott. Leave this live, go on the other live, because what Mustang is saying is there's two lives. So there are
Yeah,
people in the other live on their own. Even though it shouldn't be two, it should be one. So just go out and come back.
only,
This is ridiculous.
only, only Scott has that little phone square rectangle beside his name. He's got the
No, but you know
portrait
what?
square.
Dom had it earlier too, and Dom was saying the same thing as you
Well,
were saying, I
well,
think.
I wasn't watching that, and I wouldn't have even
Sorry,
seen.
Dom. I hope we didn't lose you.
Mhm. If you can come to the other one, which is not portrait, which is like you know whatever they
Yeah.
call it, the other one,
I know landscape. This is ridiculous.
landscape.
StreamYard, I don't know what silly stuff they've done today. It's
Well, you've
annoying.
got two
So
going. Yeah.
let's see if he manages that.
If you
Oh,
ever
Mustang
see
did that as
something,
well to start with.
if you
Yeah.
could close that one that's on the left, because on StreamYard I see two chats. I see two. I see the portrait and the regular one. So if you could X out that one on the left there, that would be great. Fortunately.
Yeah, I don't know how to get rid of it, but next time I won't stream it that way. I don't even know the purpose of that. I just wanted to highlight this very beautiful comment. Thank you so much, In-Depth7 Investigator. Thank you for telling us that the channel's a breath of fresh
And
air.
yes, and also Scott, quit being difficult, Scott, please.
Exactly. Well, I'm really curious to see his analysis in here too, because he's been very knee deep in this data with us as well. I hope the channel is a breath of fresh air. I am sometimes when I disagree with other people, it can be perceived as hostility, and I really don't like being argumentative, but I also am passionate about stuff, and I just want everyone to consider like this alternative, because I haven't heard anybody talk about it other than us. No, Scott, you're still in the wrong one.
No, Scott, you're still being difficult. I see you. Hello, Scott. Shibby's got a question mark. No, you're still being
I think
difficult, Scott.
you know what he's doing. He's finding a way to not be traced.
That's it. That's
See?
it. I'm going to have to get more guys on this case. We're going to have to get more investigators.
He must be a digital expert. He's found a channel,
Yeah,
a way to get in so no one can see him.
that's it. He's got past that security. I have to call Kathy Shank. She'll catch you, Scott. You can't outsmart the Shank.
Oh Kathy Shank. Oh, Pertinent's got that on there too. Pertinent, are you in there too?
Oh, yeah, Pertinent does now. Yeah. And I don't see Yeah, wherever you just went to, you're in the other one. Jeepers. Way to go, guys.
To the other side. Oh
Now,
no. Scott's taking Pertinent.
Scott and Pertinent are being difficult because Pertinent's gone there too.
How did you get there, Pertinent? How on earth did you get into that?
I don't know. Pertinent and Scott are working together, I think.
Oh my gosh. Who are they? Kathy Jenk and Tony Liggett.
Yeah, probably. One of the two. Well, it can't be Mullins.
Wasn't in that side either.
It can't be Mullins.
She clicked over to it. You can click over.
It can't be Mullins.
Oh, Scott's here now, and he's left Pertinent over there.
Oh, Scott has come back. Yes. Now, Pertinent, come on back, and we'll have everybody. Wherever you went, Pertinent, come back, please. Scott, I see you. Yay.
Oh, Pertinent wants to explain. Yes, you can come and chat with us and explain. Let me see. I'll send you the invite.
No, wait.
This is so fun. This is way more fun than I thought it was going to be. There you go. I'm having a lot
Everyone's
of fun.
back. Oh, you were there now. Whoa. Wherever you just put that.
I'm there. Oh, no, I'm there. How did I get there?
Oh, but you're showing up in both, so that's okay.
Okay.
But you're the main person. I see you with 2 comments.
Oh my goodness.
Okay, so everyone's back, and if I see anybody in StreamYard, I'll tell them to come to everyone else, so we can carry on.
Okay, we've got Kathy Shank in the house, Shibby. Look, Independent 7 Investigator must be Kathy Shank.
So Scott,
she just told us that she found another tip. Who's it for? Goodness, you heard it first here. We've got another lost tip.
Yes, and the tip. Here's the tip. Scott has been here for 9 minutes, and he's now saying hello to you and me. Hi, Scott. Nice to see you. Welcome.
I'm just having an issue getting Pertinent in with us. It says, oh, here we go. Here we go. Let's see. Yay!
Hey there. Can you hear me?
We can hear you. Thanks for joining us.
That's so weird because
Wait. Pert, you got something in your background. I'm hearing your background, so whatever you have.
You have hold on, you have misophonia. Let me fix it because you're just like me, Shibby.
Yes, Shibby does not like it when the mic and the sound isn't good.
Okay. Is it gone now?
It's better, yeah, but I think if we go loud, if you have volume, you got to turn it down because I'm hearing myself through you a little bit.
Well, I have it turned down.
Okay.
And I think it's clear now.
Hold on. How's that?
Well, we can't hear it until we talk, so yeah, I don't hear myself, so perfect.
Okay. I noticed today when different people that I'm subscribed to have gone live, they have the two lives, like you said, one landscape and one portrait.
Oh, so
So,
it's YouTube screwing around again.
well, if you
It's
go,
StreamYard.
well, I don't know if it has to do with StreamYard, but I know saw someone earlier, and you know how like when you scroll through videos that you can watch or whoever, like as you're scrolling through, there's two of yours, Amy. There's one
Mm.
that's showing live, and then when you click on it, it shows how many people are in it, which only showed two in the portrait one. But in the landscape one, which
Ah.
I left the landscape where I could see everybody, and I went into the portrait, and that's when you guys saw me in there. And I jumped back out of there and came into landscape and asked you to drop me a link so
Mhm.
you could. So if you, but what I don't understand is how Shibby is monitoring. Like, can you go to your
Uh,
main YouTube, like you're searching for videos,
yeah,
and
yeah.
look again and see if you see the two like I'm explaining?
So
Okay.
it is a StreamYard thing just because when I logged into StreamYard today, it's like we've landed on Mars. I didn't know what that meant. And then they said we can do landscape and portrait now. And I picked the option that they recommended, which was both, but next time I won't do that.
Yeah, because it's showing both. When if you go to
Yeah.
if you go to your home button and scroll up, and since I'm subscribed to you, it's showing me both
Mm.
streaming options available. So I think what
Okay,
happened
You know
is
what?
some people have gone into one and some people have gone into the other.
I see
okay.
now because
That makes sense.
I'm talking. I'm now going to talk in the It's like portrait mode. It's like a short versus a regular
Correct.
video.
Correct. And I always choose landscape because I don't like the portrait mode.
Yeah.
Now,
Yeah.
I'm there now. I'm there now.
It's harder to read chat messages in the portrait mode because you
And
Exactly.
basically
But I
have to
think
have a.
they've done that maybe for the phone, right? I suppose so that when if you're just on the phone and you wanted to do that, maybe. But yeah, I'm not going to use it again. It's silly, isn't it?
Yeah, but the chat goes in white, and
wow.
unless you have a black, the wording is in white, and unless you have a very dark background, it's hard to read it.
Oh, it is, isn't it?
Yes.
Wait a minute. So actually, what I probably should have done is remove that as well for a while we weren't looking at it
But
because that makes it a bit easier to read too.
yeah, I just went back and forth through both. So now I'm in the regular chat again. But I just put T. But when I go to the other one, I don't show up. I show up.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's weird because I can go
it
back and
was
forth
weird.
really easy.
Thought it was some sort of magic spell Scott had put on the chat, didn't we?
Yeah.
And he'd
You
stolen
see,
our mod.
yeah, it's definitely Scott. You see how I put one letter T, and that showed up on the regular chat. Then I put T T, and that's only on the mobile one. I don't see that in regular. So yeah. So
I
if you
love
have
it.
a
I think
little,
it's definitely Scott. There's not even any alternative there. It must be him. He did it.
it's trouble follows him for some reason.
Oh, Nicole, is your doggy called Delilah? My beautiful kitty was called Delilah. I love that name. Okay. Anyway, I know we've kind of got off track here. Pet, do you have any thoughts on the phone, the cold shock theory? While you're on here, we'll put you on the spot.
Oh, the whole phone data thing is to me it's just a shock because I keep going back to why did the defense agree to all those stipulations? Like there was more. I don't. Yeah, I'm just gonna keep pondering my thoughts on that, honestly. So
Yeah, I wonder if the reason that the defense were okay with letting it in without really too much scrutiny is because they wanted to use that audio output route change stuff. I wonder if it's that. And so they were willing to take it with because they needed to use that part.
what I don't understand if they had his IMEI, wouldn't it show up in that
Yes,
geofencing?
yes. They don't need the actual phone. They have
Right.
his
They were
IVR, they have his
exactly.
phone number.
I,
Exactly. And if
But
we
I
go back to
mean,
the
you
lost
know,
narrative, they absolutely checked his phone. Well, at least that's what it
yeah,
says on the
and
lost tip.
they cleared him, and then they didn't need him anymore.
Well, that was like I watched that Nick Casotis trial down there where he chopped his wife up and buried her and all that. And they found his data, his phone data in the geofencing from the towers down there, the GBI, they and even in the YSL trial, the GBI, which was the Georgia Bureau of Investigations, they were able to pinpoint all of those, all of the the Bloods, the Crips, the YSL people, Young Thug, Kenneth Copeland, and all their phones down to where certain people were unalived. And it's like, how in this case can they not pin down everybody's phones that, I mean, of a town of what, 3,000 people, they said?
And also, where is the geofence data for Libby's phone? I just thought of that then. That would give us much more consistent location estimates than this silly document we've just looked at here, where it shows them pinging around. And yeah, I don't understand that. Why do we not know? I mean, my understanding is you needed to have a Google account, you needed to have location services on, but I would have expected Libby would have had that on her phone back in 2017, right? So
I think any device that would have uh, Wi-Fi capability, so like whether it's a texting app or a messaging app, anything that has a capability of connecting to a wireless tower, wouldn't that be in the data?
you'd think so, wouldn't you?
Whether it's a phone or a tablet or
They've just messed around. So I don't feel that this Libby's phone data is messed around with. I feel like what has happened is we've got other things that are missing that would have certainly helped to create a bigger picture of what was actually going on, and that's the main issue. And I truly believe that I agree with Scott. He says if something inculpatory was in the geofence data, they would have used it exactly. And I've said this before, it can't be neither inculpatory or neither exculpatory, because either it shows Rick Allen was on the trails earlier and left, or it shows Rick Allen was never on the trails, or it shows Rick Allen was on the trails and at the crime scene, which we know it doesn't. But if he was never on the trails that day, then you'd think the state would have said, see, another lie, because I mean, that was their case, wasn't it? It was all circumstantial stuff that, really lacked a lot of credibility in many cases. But one of the things that they never mentioned was he said he was on his phone, but he left his phone home all day. Only Holman says that in his deposition, where he absolutely has no clue, according to what he says, on the difference between tower dumps and geofencing.
well, here's my question. Where is Kelsey's info, and where is Derek German's info if he was calling at 3:15? Is he in that
Mm-hmm.
geofencing?
Mm-hmm. I think they would have all of that. I think they would have the geofencing data of all of the people around the bridge at that time. And I wonder if phone A that people have been talking about, I haven't read all of the depositions and documents, but I wonder if the phone A that they're referring to is Kelsey's phone. Because that would probably then show, when Kelsey, after she dropped the girls, where she went. I feel like they would have that, surely.
Yeah, sounds good to me.
Yeah. I mean, I think the thing is, because I sort of say the knowledge C data is consistent with this cold shock theory and it isn't suspicious or tampered with, as I said, people will think then that I'm aligning with the state and I'm not being critical of the state. But no, I'm critical of the state because of what they've done with the other phone data, particularly Rick's. I think in terms of Libby, I think there's certainly potentially missing geofencing location information that would really help us understand again the exact time that the phone potentially stops moving. But I don't think that they have somehow other stuff has been suppressed, and I don't know if that's because it hasn't been officially subpoenaed through the official channels, which apparently can happen sometimes. You go through back channels, or whether it's a total mess in the discovery. And from my understanding, when you read the motions around the July 30, 31, August 1st, 2024, which is just mid-months or days even before the trial starts, they don't seem to understand that they could have used geofencing, not just to find out third parties, but Rick himself. And that's what worries me, because I've even heard Andy speak more recently on a YouTube channel where he's like, oh no, we couldn't track Rick's phone, or I think he said, I don't know if we could do that, or I don't think and I think it was Jennifer's territory when it came to the investigation anyway. So I mean, Andy not knowing that doesn't necessarily mean they didn't know it, but I just worry that they didn't have an expert looking at the geofencing and the phone dumps. They had an expert who looked at this stuff, but they didn't have an expert looking at that stuff.
Okay. Excuse me. I've analyzed our audio problem, and would you like my assessment? It's,
Sure.
I believe, Amy, I believe your speakers may be too loud, because when Pert mutes and I mute, I still hear you a little bit through yours. So, and when we both mute, I hear it with you. So whatever you just did is perfect now.
Okay.
Hey guys,
okay.
I'm going to drop down and go back to chat.
Okay,
Oh,
Pert.
thanks for joining us, Pert. You're welcome anytime, though.
Yes, thank you.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.
All right. Well, let's just go over the key point again now, because we're pretty much going to run out of time to do any other video today. But let's go back over the key points. I'm going to put the document back up again.
Did you just lower? Do you lower your volume? You sound perfect now.
No, actually, I just went into mic volume, and it just says it does it automatically.
Oh,
So
well,
yeah, I don't
whatever
know.
you changed, I think whatever happened, it was just before Kurt left, so maybe, I don't know, it
Yeah.
sounds perfect now, because there's a little bit of noise background coming through, but it sounds perfect now, so.
Yeah. I put Nicole's comment on the screen. I keep saying stream and scream muddled up because I totally agree with it. Nicole, I feel like you're absolutely bang on the point here, that it was there earlier in the day, and then he left, and that's why it's not convenient, is it, for the narrative?
Yeah, Nicole gets them right sometimes.
Yeah. No, no, Nicole, good job. Don't listen to Shibby. You did a great job. Okay, so this document.
I
Did you see
muted
the
my
document?
laughter, sorry.
Sorry, I don't know what you just said, Shibby. I missed that.
I muted my laughter, so sorry.
Okay. Well, here is this document again for the people who've joined a bit later. This is what we're talking about today. I hadn't seen this one, and I had been looking at the other stuff that All Eyes had in all the phone geofencing info document, which had the other pings. Now, they're two separate types of pings. The other one is the live ping where the police are trying to locate the phone when the girls are missing. This here has got nothing to do with that. This is something that goes on and records the pings in the background that they've then subsequently requested, which gives location information. So this here only operates when the phone is actually powered on and sending out signal. The other pings can still ping when the phone is off. They will basically go by the last known location, whereas this one's an actual handshake. The device has to shake hands with the tower in order for these pings to actually be recorded. Okay, so again, for the people who are new, and also for the people who've already watched this, just to go over it again, I'm going over it again for myself because I'm still getting my head around it. What we see is this is GMT time. This is not Delphi time. So GMT is 5 hours ahead of Delphi, right, Shibby?
Sorry, could you say that again? Repeat that?
GMT is 5 hours ahead of Delphi's time, right?
Yes, yes. In this time of year, we're -5.
Okay,
Eastern,
so this
so.
is 2:05 p.m. and you can see it's the entries go, the bottom ones are the earlier ones and the top ones are the later ones. So that's why that confused me as well. But this is February the 13th, 2:05 p.m. and then it goes all the way through to this time, which is February 13th, 5:44 p.m. And then we have one more that starts up again on February the 14th at 4:33 a.m. So this maps exactly onto the cold shock theory. The phone is on and functional until 5:44-ish, 5:45-ish, and then it comes back to life with a little flicker, which is not magic. It's actually physics and chemistry, and it comes back on at 4:33 a.m. It's very, very small flicker where it receives a few texts and it sends a signal, and therefore we get one last handshake. The other key thing about this is we see the phone appears to be moving up until around 2:22, and after that, the coordinates seem kind of stuck. Now, that doesn't mean they didn't move at some point during this time. They could still technically have been moving in a sort of small range, but the location accuracy is pretty awful here. We see here it's unknown, so we can't necessarily trust exactly that this coordinate is dot on for each of these time spots. But I think we can probably believe that most of this is all locked into one place, because I do believe that this is the point at which the phone is laying at the crime scene. These locations, these coordinates, you can plot them. It will show them bouncing around town, but that's not because they are. It's because, look at the location accuracy. It's better than 2.5 kilometers here, or 2,500 meters. And at some points here, it gets really bad. You can see here, and then it sort of hops back into a slightly better zone. So you cannot take these coordinates as evidence of where the girls were. We're more looking at the overall pattern and the fact that it shows movement and then a stop. So that, and the main thing we're getting from this is that the phone most likely died here at 5:44 or 5:45 after this last ping, and then it awakens for one last ping at 4:33. So that maps directly onto the cold shock theory. If there's anything else that anyone else can suggest could be a reason for that, please let me know. I know what was previously suggested by people is Faraday bag. At this point, was it put in a Faraday bag, or was the SIM removed? We have tackled that before, but basically that doesn't align. We would see other evidence of that. This aligns very much with a phone that has powered off at 5:45 because it's died suddenly. And that's why we see just this sudden shift and no pings, and then a light little flicker here again, and then it goes cold again. Okay. Does that's enough with that document now? Yeah?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, let's take it off. Okay, so I'll stay on for a few more minutes. Any last questions from anyone?
I just want to say that my thought with the defense and in the chat is that, like, Gull would have denied any defense. So to think that, I remember being back at the time and everyone thought Rosie and Baldwin were doing as best as they could, because Gull would have just kiboshed and denied anyone. And I don't see. I know we could pick apart things they didn't do or shoulda, coulda, woulda, but at the time, I remember thinking, wow, these guys are really going all out, and they're up against a brick wall, and Gull just deny. I think nobody would have been able to, no defense could have go up against somebody who's just saying no to everything and not allowing and not punishing the state and holding them accountable for all their wrongdoings. Like Rosie almost got removed for Baldwin's silly mistake of an email, yet Liggett is lying in a PCA about he changed the coat to blue from tan and added bloody from Sarah's statement that looked like BG was in a fight. He inferred blood. Holman lied in his Odin report totally about knowing who Turco, him or her, even was. And there was so many things that Gull did not hold the state. Like, transparency is very easy when you have not being held to account. So that's the problem with Gull. Yeah, in my opinion. So
we'll bounce back to that in a minute. I just wanted to acknowledge Dennis's comment in the chat about the 5:45 is when the defense witness said the headphones were plugged in. And Dennis, you probably haven't seen it, but because I've been doing too many videos recently, but basically we've kind of suggested that that's probably not the case. And again, I know bold statement going against the expert, but the tool that she's used to pass the data, the knowledge C data, is looking at it through the lens of 2024 information about iOS. And in 2024, audio output route change 1 does mean that the audio has been routed to the headphones. But from the research I've done prior to iOS 11, that is not the case. It didn't mean that. It actually usually meant, I believe, the internal like speaker or earpiece. And what we've determined alongside that is that if a headphone jack was used, I think there would be something else that would show on the log that it had been plugged in. But also, most importantly, this coincides with an incoming call. And what we know about Knowledge C is that audio output route changes when a phone call is coming in. And I believe it's actually because it's of the ringtone. And then it prepares for the actual call as well. So yeah, and I think this goes into the point, Shibby, you were just making, that we can't really also blame the defense if they're going on what their experts are saying.
Yeah, exactly.
The experts are saying one thing and the defense are going to believe that, because defense can't be expected to be experts on every aspect of a case, right? And so they're going to say, well, the expert says that that's definitely headphones, so it's definitely headphones. And this is the issue, I suppose, which we talked about before, is that you get one little flicker of something that might not be quite right and it becomes a wildfire, right? And then they kind of got quite stuck on that, and it matched their third-party suspect idea, and they kind of really hung their hat on that. And that's exactly why I'm pointing this out. It's about, that argument didn't help Rick, and that's nobody's fault. They tried the best they could at the time. But now if we look at this data differently and realize it wasn't headphones, and that isn't really suspicious, it's a sign that the phone basically was trying to answer a call and was in cold shock, then that means that they can focus their attention on things that really were suspicious, like where is the geofencing information.
One sec, we got the famous Four Pits in chat. Hi, Four Pits.
And again, I just wanted to sort of say, because I know Dennis is saying that what we're saying is speculation. Look, I guess everybody can only speculate. We don't have all of the full information. I suppose the difference here is that what we've done is we've researched as many resources as we can find about the way to interpret Knowledge C data. And I'd love to get an expert on. I'm still trying to do that. But also, we've then tested it out over multiple AI platforms, and also even beyond that, if we look at the pattern of the audio output route change over the course of the entire Knowledge C data set, you can see there are other points where the audio output is changing the route, and it always coincides with some sort of a use of the audio, whether it be engaging in a video call on House Party, whether it be a phone call to Derek German, whether it be the Bridge Guy video, processing the audio after the video. There's always an indicator of why that is being used, whereas that one at 5:45 doesn't really make sense. It only links to an incoming call. And again, anyone's welcome to research this, but Knowledge C logs incoming calls as audio output route change. Now, what would usually have happened would be that the call wouldn't be answered, and therefore it would have ended it then, but the phone dies. Now, the other reason it wouldn't log an audio output change when a call's coming in is if the phone is in a low power state or if it's on do not disturb mode, which is why some of the other ones don't log.
One sec. TJ's here. Hi, TJ. And Short Bus. I believe
Short Bus.
Showed up.
So yeah, I hope that helps. Dennis, like, we've definitely looked into the headphones idea as well. So here we don't want to seem like we're not considering other hypotheses. Absolutely going to continue to explore all avenues. And if you watch yesterday's show, you'll see that we literally put what we said into Gemini, a separate AI device, our tool, and we said, is this ridiculous? Is this silly? Isn't it more likely headphones? And again, across multiple AI platforms, we're getting very similar readings of the data or assessments, I suppose, of the cold shock theory. And Scott, did actually get back to us after killing AI yesterday, and it was pretty similar, his response. I mean, again, it always hedges its bets, though. But yes, 4 pits. I think the phone did, and so I know you've come in a little bit later, but if you watch a little bit early, we were talking. Actually, I'll put it back up again. It's just this document, and again, we see this document. This is the handshake between the tower and the phone, and basically the handshake between the tower and the phone seems to stop here, which is not 10:44, it's 5:44 p.m. This is GMT time, not Eastern Standard Time, and again shows a flicker of signal again at 4:33 a.m. So the phone most likely dies at 5:45 due to cold shock, and then it can flicker back to life at 4:33 a.m. And that's because the battery hadn't actually technically died. It was unstable. It's electrochemical instability due to cold. So there's a lot of physics behind it. I don't fully, I'm not going to grasp the technicalities of everything, but this does marry up with known user complaints as well, if we look at some of the forums, but also it marries up with science, with physics and chemistry. So yeah, and anyone who was in with us a few days ago would know that Nanaji in the house is a biochemical chemistry graduate, so she's given us some of her feedback. She hasn't come on. We'll see if we can get her on. I'll see if I can get her on with Shibby one day.
Yeah, bring her on.
Yeah. So Dennis was saying he's not necessarily saying it was headphones, it could be something else. Look, yeah, the thing is as well, what registers what goes into the jack, that's not the audio output wrap. So that's actually would be a different log entry on Knowledge C. So if someone plugs something into the phone, that logs slightly differently on Knowledge C. And actually, Shibby, keep everyone entertained in the chat. I'm gonna look up what that would look like in Knowledge C. So give me a minute.
Yeah. Talking or typing? I'll talk to them, yeah.
Yeah, you talk.
So we're talking about solitary confinement, but didn't Nick McClelland even say Richard was in solitary? I mean, Mustang's saying it wasn't solitary, so, but I believe the state has even said it was. So if you want to think like Susan Hendricks does that, oh, he had an iPad, no big deal. I mean, that's pretty cold and callous to me, because I know any of us 3 days or three weeks or 3 months in solitary in safekeeping or whatever you're going to call that, protective custody when you're an innocent until proven person is on pretrial detainment. You should not be taking that lightly, no matter who it is, because we as a society, we don't. It's not retribution. It's accountability and punishment. It's not retribution and torture. So if you believe that his treatment was fine, then okay. If you believe that Liggett lying on the PCA is okay, that's fine. If you believe Holman lying and his sworn affidavits about the Odin report is fine, okay. If you believe all the missing evidence is okay, fine. If you believe all the missing video is fine, okay. If you believe all the third parties that they could talk about, but the defense couldn't talk about it, fine, okay. Well, then you think you got a fair trial. But I think most people agree, most of the guilters agree, he wasn't awarded a fair trial, and the LE investigation was shoddy at best. So, hey, think what you want. Ooh, am I still entertaining chat? Okay, guys. So what's going on here? Who said F the Geneva Convention? I'm not sure, but well, Mustang, I understand. Okay, well, I didn't know that, Mustang, so that's great to know. But yeah, I just remember Susan Hendricks saying at the CrimeCon, the latest CrimeCon, she was a bit callous about saying that his treatment was no big deal because he had an iPad. So Mustang, you say you've been in solitary for 6 years. Wow, I did not know that, and great. Thank you for sharing that, and I'm glad you made it through. But that's a long time, so you definitely can speak with experience. And Mustang, thank you again for stating your opposition or your opinion, and you're being a great addition to this wonderful chat today. That's all I know.
Okay, so apparently it wouldn't actually show another line on the data set if something's inserted. It would be still the audio output route change. However, because it was iOS 10, it wouldn't have said headphones like it would more recently. It would have said audio output route change, and it would have the integer one, like we've said. Then what's happened is that Magnet Axiom has basically said, well, 1 equals headphones, and it's put it actually in words on Eldridge's whatever the kind of spit out of data that she's got from using the tool that she uses. The issue here still goes that or is that in iOS 10 or prior to iOS 11, we do not have confirmation that 1 equal headphones. And in fact, what I've seen, and again, it's so hard to get an official document from Apple that says this, but it looks as though the schema changed between iOS 10 and iOS 11. And so 1 meant headphones from iOS 11 onwards. It didn't necessarily mean it before that. Could it have meant that? Perhaps, but from what we're seeing, particularly when we look at this data, it looks like it is consistent with other parts of the phone, like the speaker and yeah. So yeah, so
well, that's been a problem since they arrested Richard Allen, because after 5 years, and now it's been 8 or 9 years, that every iOS is constantly changing, and the hardware. So there's hardware things that they add that you can do more with, or that are there that they don't allow in the iOS, and all the versions and different phones. I mean, jeepers, it's been 10 different iPhones since, probably. And probably
this is the problem, because
more iOS.
The data was a lot sparser. If you had knowledge, see, from iOS 10 or 10.21, the knowledge was sparser. So it would have just said 1, and 1 didn't mean anything in particular, I don't think, or if it did, it didn't come up in words. And so the very fact that Eldridge says on her document, it says in words, the blob, as we've talked about before, is headphones, suggests that she's using the tool that looks at or that interprets data iOS 11 onwards, and hasn't potentially told that tool that this was actually iOS 10.2.1, which if you don't do that, it's going to give you the new code, not the old code. And that's like looking at something with 2024 glasses, but it's from 2017. So that's the reason that it's hard to really kind of take that as 100% factual. So it's tricky. I mean, I don't like the fact that I'm disagreeing with her at all, because I do feel like that just feels very overconfident in an area that I haven't studied. But I'm basically not suggesting that I've studied this area in the way that she has. But what I am saying is that this is Apple and digital forensics. They don't always go hand in hand. So you could be a digital forensic expert, but still not have all of the specific knowledge of Apple, because digital forensics is a big field. It's like if I'm a psychologist, doesn't mean I know a lot of information about schizophrenia, for example. I know enough, I know a little bit, so I could, if I assess someone and I think there's schizophrenia, I can say it, but I'm not an expert in it. And I think that's what I'm not saying that's the truth about Stacey Eldridge. I don't know her, and I don't know what her expertise is in Apple, but I think the problem here is that it's a known thing in the digital forensics community that Apple iOS 11 onwards had different aspects of it to the earlier versions. And one of those things that most likely seems to have changed is the integers and what they mean. Okay, so I hope that makes sense.
Oh yeah, perfect sense.
And going back to solitary confinement, so what is solitary confinement? I guess the definition is physical and social isolation for more than 22 hours a day with little to no meaningful human contact or environmental stimulation. So yeah, I mean, you've basically got like social deprivation. Yes, he's got the iPad, but I don't know that would count as full sort of social connection. And then we've also got sensory deprivation as well a lot of the time. So minimal natural light, minimal access to activities, and that certainly sounds like what Rick was facing. Oh, you've got background noise now, Shibby. What's happening?
Are you sure? What do you hear?
Oh, it sounded like you were in like a club or something. Like there are people behind you.
Oh, I'll go turn my other fan off. It might be coming through. One sec. I'm here.
That's okay. Yeah. So essentially, could an iPad constitute social simulation? To some extent, yes. I mean, gosh, so many of us. I mean, we're all doing this right now, right? However, it's still, to me, is not enough. Is it like, I mean, how often can he use the iPad? I mean, we've heard the calls. They're very short, brief calls. Like, so is he able to call? Is he able to do face-to-face video calls on it? I'm assuming not. I don't know. I don't know how it works. I worked in the jail system here prior to them using anything like that. So I don't know what goes on in terms of their iPad use, but it just doesn't, to me, constitute the same as, physically being face-to-face talking to people. So yeah, I've missed a lot in the chat, so apologies if I've missed anything. I know Shibby's been kind of keeping up with it, but
How do I sound? Do I sound any better?
yeah, you sound fine now.
I'd like to. Purple amethyst has caught me. Yes, I'm in the bath right now. She caught me.
Oh, hey, Purple Amaryllis. I think I've seen Purple Amaryllis on my Twitter. One of the rare people that love hearts my stuff. I think that's you. So thank you for being a nice validation on Twitter when most people don't even look at my posts.
Yes, you can see I put my emoji. I'm wearing my polka dot bikini too.
Scott, I'm happy to tell you which jail. I only worked at one, but I probably won't do it on live here. It may give away too much information about my location, but I'm happy to tell you. I'll email you. Yeah, he's just put in caps. Do not tell me here. But I worked in a correctional center. Yes. Look, it's not been my most lengthiest of jobs. I would have loved to do it for longer, but I wanted to move back home, so it wasn't where I lived. And I kind of, I felt a bit isolated from my family and my friends, so I moved back. But I loved the work. It was wonderful work, and I got to work with maximum, medium, and minimum security male inmates and remand inmates. And my job was basically the clinical well-being. So it was a jail that had a lot of offender programs. So we had a lot of people doing more of the forensic stuff. But my job was a lot of working with people with depression, anxiety. I actually developed an anxiety and depression CBT program, a group program while I was there. And I do a lot of the suicide you do the meetings with the officers and the nurses, and we'd figure out whether someone, needed to be in safekeeping, I suppose. And usually what we would try to do is not keep them in there for very long. And we'd try to find other avenues to ensure that the person was safe and, had consistent care, but wasn't constantly isolated on their own. So I can't remember anyone being in a safe cell for more than, I would say, a few days. And if they did continue, then they'd be sent to the forensic hospital instead of being held in a normal jail setting. So, yeah. I agree with you, Trial Junkie. TJ says, I believe criminals are wounded children. I mean, I think so many of us are, just in general. Majority of the problematic behaviors that we experience in day-to-day life, whether they're arguing and being cranky with people and not getting into jail, or the more significant behavioral issues are generally our wounds basically showing up and our defense mechanisms coming out. So yeah, so that's why I didn't struggle really working with inmates, because you see them as often very traumatized, but a lot of attachment trauma and neglect and so many difficult experiences that they've had. Very few of them would have been in that category where I would say that they were psychopathic or, truly malevolent a lot of the time. Hey, Fishy, nice to see you. Hey, Pie Crust, I
Yes,
saw you coming before too.
yeah, I was just going to mention that. Hi, Fishy. Nice to see you. And Miss Pie, I think I said hi earlier. So welcome both of you.
Yeah, I think we've got a lot of awesome people in here.
Oh, almost 30 people. Wow.
Yeah. Scott's right that remand prisoners, the standards are different. Yes, because they're technically innocent at that point. They are not proven guilty. So,
Right.
yeah, they should have slightly different standards. Here in Australia, I don't know. Actually, I'm trying to think. The remand section. It's been a long time. I can't remember exactly what used to happen and what the difference was. But yeah, essentially, it is. It should be different.
I think Australia, Canada, and UK would be much different than US. But also, the US does have more freedom of information, which is great. So maybe we just learn about these things more because of the transparency in those type of aspects.
Yeah. TJ's making another great comment. So that's why mental health is crucial for healing. 100%. Again, I go back to even for all of us, like, I mean, people will sometimes comment that, I will go over and over and passionately keep saying the same thing. And that's because one of my wounds is being unheard. So being a neurodivergent woman from a cultural minority means that a lot of my life I felt like somewhat put in the corner, and people go, no, you're wrong, we know better. And so that's why I think I'm quite reactive to that now, and I try to react still from a place of warmth and fairness, but I can sometimes repeat the same thing over and over again, and I know people don't really like that, but the reason is it's like, please hear me. Like I actually do have something to add to the conversation, because for many years I didn't feel that. For many years I wouldn't have had that confidence. So
Right.
I think we have to always look at each other's behavior through the lens of what wound has that person had that has led them to be reactive in that way. Like
Right.
I know
That's
for me, sometimes when I see critical comments from people, I
right.
understand they've got their own wounds, and that's why I try not to always take everything personally. It's hard though.
Well, that's a perfect segue into, like, with Mustang. I've probably talked with Mustang for the last 6 months about solitary confinement, this and that, and I had no idea until today that she said she had been in solitary for 6 years in
Wow.
prison herself. And yet,
Yeah,
I mean, that
I didn't know
that
that.
means things. I mean, obviously, and I had no idea. So it's like my mom in a way, where some people, they think that everyone knows what's going on in their head more than you kind of need to tell people more. But I mean, if anybody's ever said that, I've never heard that. So that's a good
Hmm.
point. Not saying it's your
And this
fault, Mustang, but
And this is exactly why I've done a couple of those videos along the way, like the one that was vulnerability is strength. Because if you tell people your story, then I mean, you don't owe anyone, the full details. You're allowed to have boundaries, but if you tell people
right.
some of your wounds, then they will usually, well, you'd hope people will then be a bit more fair. So that's why I will tell people, one of, some of my wounds, that I'm insecure
Well,
about my appearance after cancer, that I'm insecure about, feeling as though maybe people think I'm too loud, too much. I interrupt. I think I know too much. And
well,
that's my
I,
neurodivergent trauma.
well, yeah, and also, I mean, having the firsthand experience of 6 years in solitary, I
Yeah.
mean, jeepers,
Yeah.
I would have definitely considered that as some knowing much more about it than I would have given her, the credit
Yeah.
for. I mean, I had no
100%.
idea.
And I know there are other people in here who have pretty big stories. I'm not here to tell other people's stories unless they want me to, but I know that there are other people in here who've had some pretty significant stories in their lives that would explain that they would have a slightly different lens on some of this stuff. And this is why we should never, ideally, we should always try to remember. And I'm not saying I don't do this sometimes, but try to remember we have not walked in that person's shoes, so we don't know what they know or don't know, and what experiences they've had. So I also just wanted to say hello to the second Heather that's just entered as well. I didn't say hello
Oh
to
wow,
her, but nice to see you.
more Heathers. Wow. Hi Heather part two. Maybe we need so Hebby, call Hebby, Heather Brown will be Hebby, and the new Heather can be anything you want.
Yeah. So
And whoa,
TJ,
one
you and
second.
I have a very similar philosophy, I think, because TJ says we're all born innocent, and I agree. I think deep down, we come into this world with, with I guess I mean, it sounds almost a little bit religious, but it's not. It's like a pure soul, though. We come in and into this world, and then we get wounded by the world. I mean, my biggest issue, I always say, society is the wicked stepmother.
Right, but
Society
also
basically.
remember the other day we were talking about accents and how your son had a Persian. So I believe there's also some traits in our DNA that are carried over. Whereas
Yeah,
like I think about the other day spiders and stuff. Like sometimes a spider is born and they don't get their mom and them teaching them, right? But they just know to do certain things.
that's
So
right.
obviously
Right,
we're
that
handed
seed.
down actions that are. And now there's one last controversy in chat. There's a big one, and it's all what do you call dinner? Supper or dinner? The
I
big
call it
controversy.
dinner. Supper.
Mm.
Supper is what you have after dinner.
Oh, is it really? Because we
Yeah.
can we it's interchangeable here.
Well,
Supper
yeah,
is
and
dinner. So
that's a
really?
great example of what we're talking about, Shibby. How
Mm.
how
Wow.
language is different in different places, that our references are different. So it's not I'm right. Supper is definitely not dinner. That's not right. That's just what's right here in
Well,
my culture.
plus well, the normal people are here. Like Abby and I, we're in the standard and central eastern time zones, but there's weirdos like Fishy and Dee Dee are out on that west coast, and they're like a whole different breed of people. So
Oh, TJ is again another super insightful comment. Absolutely, we all survive, and that's exactly what the quote unquote bad behaviors that we sometimes exhibit are. They're usually our survival mechanisms: fight, flight, freeze, fawn. Right. So one of my survival mechanisms is definitely fawn, and this is why I'm constantly like, "Is that okay? Is it okay? I'm sorry. Do you like me?" Right. That's fawn. But for some people, it's fight, and that's like, "How dare you say that? I don't agree with you. This is ridiculous. Stop saying that." And that's their survival mechanism. For other people, it's flight, and they avoid. They don't even come in. They
right.
don't engage. And then and you understand that, Shibby, you've had that to some extent too, right?
Well, you're talking flight or fight?
I think you've had flight in the past, right? When you've really kind of hidden
Well,
away.
well, no, yes. Well, um, physically, like in the real world, I'm fight. I flight is
Yeah.
not in me. Whereas my depression I had for say 10 years wasn't. It wasn't. I was afraid. I was just like nothing was fun anymore. I just kind of gave up.
But but al-
Like
but also our
that's
fight,
all.
flight, freeze, fawn can vary as well. We're not just one of them, and so and even depression is a threat to the nervous system. So it's not necessarily even
Right.
saying like you have to be anxious. It's more saying when my nervous system senses something's awry. Whether it's that I'm feeling bad about myself, whether it's that I'm feeling stressed about something, whether it's that my gut biochemically in my brain things have shifted, that is sensed as a threat to the nervous system. And as
Mhm.
such, the nervous system then goes into fight, flight, freeze, fawn. Sometimes it goes into one mode more dominantly. Sometimes it goes into multiple. Sometimes it goes into combined modes of the two. And so yeah, I mean, that's all survival.
Like for me, it wasn't fear as much as it was complacency. So wherever
Yeah,
complacency is, I'm just kind of like, why bother? Nothing's
meh.
fun no more.
Which is what
Yeah,
which is
meh.
what's talking about there too, anhedonia. Yeah, like nothing's interesting. It doesn't
Yeah,
matter.
like when I think of Scott, I think meh.
Sunflower Lola's got a lovely comment. We all have a story and have been through stuff for sure. I love this chat. This is awesome. And TJ again with a beautiful statement here that we're all survivors of some sort of crime. And we have a lot of sensitive people here. And I agree. I agree. And so this is why the division doesn't need to be there. does it? Like, we don't actually have to argue with each other, but we all get into that. Like, I get into it too. And I mean, I don't think I outwardly fight and argue, but my fight mechanism is to just, keep problem solving until I can prove a point. And
Right, but
I know that can be annoying.
also what I've been doing now, and it's only recently, like I'm 52, so since I've been 50, I've taken on the if somebody says something, especially in comments, and I'm not positive they're being mean or mad, then I reply with a joke, and then I try it two or three more times because most of the time it is they mean it as a joke or they're being sarcastic or it's just a misunderstanding and one simple comma or apostrophe or emoji could change the whole thing. So if somebody's really, really upset with you, they'll make it clear. So
Yeah.
that's how I avoid things.
And so if somebody's annoying you, also think about why they might be doing that. I was just thinking that even now, thinking out aloud, I'm trying to process this for my own experiences if people upset me. It's like, think why, what's behind that? So what's behind Amy going on and on about the cold shock theory? Well, it's because I felt like nobody ever listens to me my whole life. And so I go into fight mode. Let me show you. I know now. I'm telling you now, right? And it sounds then like it's sort of, dictating and bossing people around, but it's actually, that's not my intention. It's just that it can come across that way when it's persistent over and over again, but that's coming from my wounded part that feels like people take my opinion for granted. And it also comes from the part of me that says, actually, I do think this is a really good theory, so I'm driven by that, so that's also showing up there too. But yeah, I think we just have to always look behind people's behavior before casting aspersions and assuming somebody's hostile or nasty or mean or cruel. That's not to say that people aren't sometimes cruel and you're allowed to call it out if they are being cruel. It's not about saying we just
Right.
got to be, sweetness and light, because boundaries are also important. So if somebody in the chat now comes in and says you're an effing idiot, we don't have to be like, oh, I wonder. I mean, I can be curious of what's going on for them, but I'm also still allowed to say that's not okay.
Right. Plus, as a man growing up, I was conditioned in the 70s and 80s to not cry, to be tough, get back in there, get up, wipe it off, and that's not usually the best way because they end up holding everything in and becomes too much.
So the ideal thing. So the ideal thing to do when you're experiencing a strong emotional somebody else is, the absolute kind of gold standard is to validate and be curious. So if somebody in the chat now said, I feel so sad, this is making me feel so miserable, then instead of us saying, oh, don't worry about it, just do something else, or ignoring it, or saying, don't feel that way, what we would say is, that's really hard. Tell us more about that. What's going on for you, and then they might tell us, and then we can maybe suggest some things to help cheer them up. So that's a tip there. Pro tip is like always
also
be curious and
go on.
validate. That's it.
Yes, but also I think you guys should know that I'm getting a bit better at this now because I'm looking on StreamYard and I'm worrying about you guys in the chat and I'm watching on as a moderator on my alt account to make sure nobody is causing trouble and has me blocked. So we're busy. So if we miss something, it's not because we don't care. It's because we're busy here.
And well, that's the thing, and I do hope that everybody sees that. Interesting. I was telling Shibby about this before we came on today. I literally do this sometimes to kind of check on my own tone. So what I did was I took the transcript from one of our videos and I put it through ChatGPT and I asked it to analyze, I guess the traits that we're trying to show. And I was happy. I mean, as we know, ChatGPT will be biased to some extent sometimes, but I hope, that the feedback it gave was correct, that we try to operate out of confusion.
Tell the chat what the ChatGPT said about me is Shibby said, well, for a guy who barely made it through high school, he's pretty informed.
No, yeah, no, it didn't say for a guy that barely made it. It didn't say that stuff. It didn't give the caveat. It actually just said, yeah, like that you were a wise co-host and that the two of us work well together, which I think we definitely do. We bounce off each other.
Only because I learn by mistakes, and I've made lots and lots of mistakes. I can tell you that.
Same. Same. We're going to actually do a video later this week, guys, for you, where we're going to look at some of my older videos and we're going to laugh at me. It was so
Wow.
funny, Shibby. Last night I listened
Oh
to
yeah,
one of
yeah.
my videos from a year ago. It was one of my first
Mhm.
videos, and this is how I'm talking. Like, yeah, and so like, oh my God, I couldn't even listen to the 16
Right,
minutes of it. I was like, shut
right,
up.
right. So now, that would be great because then we can uh, what is it? Pick at old you, but also can we put it through a filter where you're a kitty cat or have cat ears or something fun like that?
Well, what I'm working on is actually doing a little video of Kai exposing the fact that I've been making him take credit for the ideas that failed. So
Right.
yeah, but we can work on that. I'm not the best with this stuff, but I'll try. It won't look very realistic.
Ooh, the word I was looking for, critique. So we can critique Amy from the past as us in the future.
Yes.
And have
TJ's
some
just
fun
saying,
with it.
where have I been for a whole year? Well, TJ, when I first did YouTube, okay, so this is the evolution of my channel. When I had it 12 years ago, it was just one solo video. This was back in the days when you could put music, like well-known music. So it was a video with Stevie Wonder and various songs with my pets. And then subsequently, actually, I think it's, yeah, I think I had another YouTube channel that had pets videos on them too. That got copyright struck, obviously, once the rules all changed. And then I had a whole lot of videos in 2023, early 2023, about my cancer. So I decided to make videos because they helped me, watching other people go through chemo and then telling me what they were dealing with. And so I started to do those videos, which weren't well like watched by a lot of people, but were watched maybe more by people in the breast cancer community that I was engaging with at the time. But I didn't know how to really do thumbnails and make it look good. I've got probably the one that got the most views was where I do the chemo makeup, where I go from this like bald, hairless person to looking somewhat normal with a chemo turban and fake eyebrows and stuff. And then when the trial was on, I then made a couple of videos about psychology related concepts in the Delphi trial. This is when I still was on the fence about Rick's guilt. I didn't know enough. The gag order was in place. And then I started truly making videos in terms of advocacy for Rick and understanding the evidence more. I think it was around May of this year. And some of those are funny too. There's one where I'm using my British accent because it was back in the day where I was like, well, if this is a conspiracy and I'm revealing it, or not revealing it myself, but I'm revealing parts of it, I'm getting involved, then I don't want anyone to know who I am. So I talk in this ridiculous posh English accent and I'm talking about how
Right.
I think the Hoosier Harvest Store footage is fake, which I
Wow.
mean, I'm happy to laugh at myself now because I was being a conspiracy theorist. I do believe that there's an issue with that footage, but I don't believe that they've stamped a car on like I did back in May.
Wow. Well, I just like to say that, like I told Heather Hebby when she was going through her chemo and stuff and was worried about her hair, that you guys are beautiful as you are, and hair or no hair, lumps or no lumps, anyone would be lucky to have you.
Oh, well,
So,
that's very kind. But I mean, look, we can, like, I'm actually, let's pull it up on the screen. You can see just how grey I looked with no hair. And this is the thing, I think for me, this is what helps me also gain confidence. And that actually did going through that because it was like, who cares? It doesn't even matter anymore. Like embrace that part of you. Like that's the survivor in you. And you don't have to be perfect and you don't have to look amazing all the time in
right,
order to
right,
be worth anything in this world. But I
right.
literally, like, it's sad that it took me to get to, nearly, well, the age of 40 and to have cancer to finally have more confidence in myself. So it's,
You know,
I hope that other people say, there you go, there I am. Look at how I look.
age,
Can you believe it?
yeah, aging is hard enough without cancer stuff. So you guys are beautiful as you are. You don't need AI or nothing. The real you is who I want, and that's all you need to know. You're beautiful as you are.
Yeah, so this is my channel. It was Daisy's first birthday. So this is Daisy who has inspired the channel. However, unfortunately, she passed away in 2022. So that was back in her first birthday. It's a cute little video, but got copyright struck because it had Stevie Wonder in it. And then these were all me going through chemo. So if anyone ever is going through cancer and wants to hear my journey, you can. I was doing what's called the Red Devil AC chemo, which is just hideous. And so you can see basically I go from looking still like bald but normal-ish to right up here where I'm really looking pretty rough, my poor kids. And then this here is a song that I made up for my kids. So I hummed it one day at bedtime, and then I put it into AI music and it made our own song. So if anyone wants a bedtime song, that is my good night song. And then here's where I started doing some Rick Allen stuff, but I didn't know if it was guilty or not. It was more just informative, but I'm so stuttery on these. Like I said, we'll go over them and really laugh it out. This is, I think, the one that's quite silly with the British accent. We'll laugh at that one too. Then I did this about me because people didn't like me and I wanted people to realize I'm not a bad person. That was more the Twitter people who don't like me. And then this is when we then start getting into more of the serious stuff, and then it became all lies.
Yeah.
So there you go. That's my evolution.
I mean, just working the technology, I can see your progression, and the thumbnails are always getting better, and just the camera angles, and I just myself, even this is like my 10th time being on a live, and I just really starting to feel good about it now, like muting to take a drink, and working the phones and all this and chat. So it's a lot. You're doing great.
It just comes more naturally, doesn't it, over time?
Yeah. Who knows what's happening next? I may just get a camera and expose my face to the world.
Well, yeah, I'm working on setting up the proper camera set up at my place as well, so that the videos will start looking even more professional over time. Because the reason I bought that stuff was initially, and it still is the plan, is I'm going to be doing another channel, which will be to do with the book that I'm writing that I haven't been writing because I've been doing the Delphi case, but it's more a psychology related channel. Thank you so much for all the beautiful comments, guys, in the chat. That's so nice.
Plus, there's all the camera angles and the lighting, and I just want to sit at my little desk here and have some cool stuff in the background, and just not like one time I saw on Delphi After Dark, Rick Snay, he bonked his camera over and it fell in his lap. And luckily, like thinking, like, what if he didn't have pants on or something silly like that, because his camera fell right onto his lap.
Well, I definitely, like, I used to do this in COVID days, like I'd just be wearing like my pajama shorts or something and a t-shirt, and you'd be like, oopsie, I moved the camera and now you can see. I mean, I did that the other day on here when I was doing one of the lives and I was wearing these tiny little shorts and I was like, ooh, a little bit too much leg there.
Yeah, like now I'd have to put pants on. I'm just kidding.
Don't get that image in your head, everyone. Anyway, I think this was such a lovely live, guys. Oh my goodness, this is so nice just to have a chat with all our friends and hopefully, show the spirit of the channel and that it is all done in good faith.
It is almost like therapy when you start talking about the psychological aspects of it. And I almost, when you did the cancer stuff, I actually felt that I was tearing up. And as a man, that's hard to do. Usually only my kids and my old war footage and stuff, what is stuff that makes me cry. So
yeah, I mean, I think that again, this is when we hear each other's stories, it humanizes everybody. I mean, a lot of us have some pretty difficult stories, and it's like how I've been saying, the more that I connect with Abby and Libby's story, like, it's not that I didn't know it all the way through, but when you actually sit and you think about it and you imagine those final moments, like, it makes me want to tear up. Like, it just is, there's so much sadness. And then when we imagine there's a man over, on the other side of the world from me, sitting in a cell right now, facing the rest of his life in jail for a crime that he didn't commit, at least that I don't believe he committed, like, how bloody scary. 3 years he sat in there. It's just horrible.
Well, he was convicted, and there was gobs and tons of reasonable doubt, and the jury was, I think, tricked or manipulated or misled to believe that there needs to be a preponderance of unreasonable doubt, whereas just any reasonable doubt should have made this trial go differently.
But yeah, I mean, can you even imagine that, Shibby? He was your age when he was arrested, right? Around your age. Like, can you imagine if you were called into prison now? And
that's a great point. I'll say one thing. Yeah, that's a great point, because in the beginning, way before all this, I used to think, because I was just coming out of my depression when I started watching this, and I was the exact same as Richard Allen, and I thought, oh my God, like, I want to go out and I want to just go for a walk And if there was a bridge like that around me, I'd walk to that bridge, especially if it was from my childhood where I grew up and hung out and drank and smoked and had good memories. I'd want to visit that. And what if he was just a guy like me trying to get out and not be depressed and just
Mm-hmm.
say hi to people as a 50-year-old man? If I have a thing where if I walk by people on a pathway and that I acknowledge them and say hi, it's just something my dad always did. So it may
Mm-hmm.
appear creepy, but I'm not trying to be. And
Oh,
even if it still does,
absolutely.
I'll never stop. And if it's, obviously if it's 2 or 3 teenage girls, I have a daughter and I have granddaughters. And I think, oh, hi, I want to say hi and ease their uncomfortable, but it may appear creepy, but I'm not trying to be.
I'm pretty sure I've shared the story before of why I see some kind of overlap between Rick and my dad is because that's exactly what my dad was like too. And literally to the point where kids, because we have had a really cute dog too, growing up, would come and be like, "Can Tigger come out to play? And can you come out?" Because I was probably like a uni student by that age, so they'd sometimes come and ask my dad, and he'd be in the park and he'd chat to the kids because he just was a really like loving person. He was very similar to how I am,
Right.
where I know all the kids too. I talk to them, I go, "Oh, where do you go to school?" I'm not being creepy. I just like kids, um,
Yeah.
and kids like me, and kids liked my dad too. But yeah, I get this image in my head of Rick, and because my timeline is slightly different to maybe some of the other timelines. I wonder if he gets up from the bench as the girls are arriving, and like I'm even going to cry saying it now because I literally get this feeling of like he got up and he walks the other way and they walk in, and it's this
Mm,
split second of they don't cross paths, they kind of just miss each other, and it ruins all three of their lives forever. It's so
right.
sad.
And then you try to do the right thing and say, yeah, and be transparent with the police. And then look what they do. They just take everything you say. That's why it's
Yeah,
best Kathy Allen didn't speak at trial because that would have just been more fodder for them to spin
yeah,
and against them.
yeah. Gosh, I literally get like my body literally like gets into a sort of state when I think about this. And actually, TJ mentioned before that trauma sort of it sticks in your body, and that's certainly what the literature shows us. Our nervous system isn't just our brain; it runs throughout our entire body. And when I start to think about that scene on the trails and the bench and Rick and then the girls and then the bridge guy and all of that. Like it's just such a horrific scene and my whole body reacts to it.
Um, Well, that's like my whole life growing up. I've kind of always been I was always picked first, kind of, not to brag or say anything, but at sports, I was never hurt. I was never beat up. I never got concussions. I was always the aggressor more. And so maybe if I were to go behind like closed doors, I'd prefer to a submission. But in my real life, I'm totally the opposite of that. So I'm not sure why I said that.
Yeah. I was just actually asking, oh, Hebby. Oh my goodness, that's my first super. Is it a super chat? I don't know what that is, but it's amazing.
OMG. Oh, OMG.
Oh
I'm
my
going to screenshot
goodness.
that, Hebs. Wow, that's her
That's
first one.
thank you, Heavy. My goodness, I've literally never had anything like that on the channel. Thank you. Four Pits was just talking about Rick Snay, and I haven't seen Rick Snay for a while. Like, do we know what's happening? Because I
Um,
haven't seen him
he put
for
a
ages.
he put a community post out the other day, and he's going through some stuff and rethinking and
Oh,
all that. So if you're not sure, go to his community page, and he put out a recent community post explaining lots of things. So
okay. I'll have a look. Yeah, I had wondered where he was because I hadn't seen him for a while. Hmm.
mhm. He was, I think he talked
Well,
about quitting too. So anyway, go to his channel and read it.
and I do feel like, yeah, I think that happens a lot in this community, doesn't it? Like
Oh,
people end
sure.
up getting out of it because of that.
Yeah, especially people like him. I mean, he's got lots of people who love him, and like Prof and him, there can be a lot of people that don't like them.
Yeah, it's very
And
divisive, isn't
also,
it?
like it gets personal, like calling jobs up and
That's the thing.
schools and
It gets nasty, doesn't it?
family and
Yeah,
friends. Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Luckily, I'm
Disagree with
nobody and
you.
nobody cares.
don't bash the person. Hey, Anna
Right.
Paula Baxter, lovely to see you. But yeah, for sure, we send
But,
our good vibes and prayers out to Rick Snay if he's going through some
yeah.
difficult times, for sure. He seems like
Also
a
with
genuine. Seems like a genuine guy who really cares.
oh yeah, he is. Heather really knows him well, and she loves him. And also, in my
Oh,
real life,
Nicole, thank you.
oh no, Nicole, look what you're doing now. Way to go, Abby. Look what you started. I'm just kidding.
Oh, thanks, guys.
Oh,
I really don't expect it, but
thank
thank you
you.
so much.
That's awesome. Nicole's number two. So what I was going to say was in my if in my professional life as a guy who plays with RC cars as a business and does like late night security and I have my HVAC license, so I when before COVID I would install furnaces and air conditioners, and I've worked as an electrician and in an auto factory. So I mean, if any of these people got a hold of my friends, or it would be almost humorous to them, so it wouldn't affect me as much as you guys who are worried have a professional reputation in public.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing. Like, I think for me, I mean, obviously, I put my face out there, and so in my profession and things like that. But still, you don't want like your private kind of location details and things like that shared. I'm not concerned about, technically not concerned about my reputation because I know I'm not being unethical. But yeah, it's more like I don't know. I don't like the idea of receiving things in the post like I know others have. That's
Right.
not great. Oh, TJ, my goodness, guys, you guys are
Oh
amazing.
wow.
Oh, I really didn't expect it. Any money that I raise from this channel will just go back into the resources for the channel, really. Like I think most of you guys know I'm not doing this for money. Unless I make millions, in which case I'll open my cat sanctuary. Then I will be doing that for money. But no, I make this joke with the kids that I need to get famous in order to have enough
Mm.
money to buy a cat sanctuary. That's all I
Right.
want.
Well,
I just want to live in a beautiful acreage somewhere by the ocean and rescue cats.
right.
So
Or I think you'd just be happy at the beginning like this, just to even if you could break even, because these cameras and your time. I mean, you're doing it for yourself and you enjoy it, and for the justice or whatever. But also, it costs money. These cameras and your subscriptions and all that stuff. So
true, yeah, because I've subscribed to StreamYard. I mean, Canva I already had a subscription to, but yeah, you're right. There's all these subscriptions, and I've even, you sometimes need to do like Google Ads if you want to get a little bit more
right,
news traffic coming in. And yeah, it is a
right.
lot of hours. I mean, yeah, I do it for fun
Uh,
because it's my hobby. But yeah, like the hours that I'm putting in now to making the presentations, as well as, I mean, the time live just feels like a chat. But yeah, it is a lot. But I will do it regardless. So no,
I think with
I think
all
what was saying that I need to start being like some other creators that might bully people into paying for things.
no, I think all of this obviously would just go back into the show to make things better for us. So it's a
Well, once you
win-win.
start me wearing see me wearing my Gucci and Ralph Lauren, no, I'm only joking.
Oh yeah,
I'm not a
for
brands
sure.
person.
Yep,
I'm wearing my
yep.
Shein
Well,
Save the Whales t-shirt and my Kmart shorts right now. So
you'll have the diamond earrings and that big Hope diamond, like in the Titanic, around your neck,
yeah,
probably.
exactly. That's what I'm doing it for.
Hmm.
And yeah, I'll have
And
the mansion and the Lamborghini or whatever, Maserati.
I was just going to say that you'll have servants coming and bringing you drinks as you're on the air, and they'll be interrupting you. Pardon me, would you like your refill?
Yeah, yeah. That's what I'm here for, guys. And then you'll also see me on camera all the time because I'll get all the fillers and the plastic surgery and I'll be like, "Hey
Oh
guys,
no,
welcome to
oh
my
no.
channel."
You'll have duck lips.
Yes, of course.
You guys don't need any of that.
Oh, Scott
I like
Snap,
to
we're
tell
both
you
wearing
what.
our Kmart shorts.
I don't
I
know.
love
Scott's
Shein,
having trouble
Heavy. I
again.
get so much stuff from Shein. Like, it doesn't last very long a lot of the time, but it's like they have this one brand that makes these kind of mod style dresses, and I love the shape of them. Like, they just look so like old school vintage. So, yeah, I'm certainly not a designer girl. The thing I probably spend the most money on, three things: cats, my own pets, because they eat premium food; kids that are totally spoilt, and that needs to stop. Hence the talk the other day that I mentioned about them being a little bit um, ungrateful. And then three, food, because I'm always eating out because I love eating junk food, and I'm gonna do that after we get off. It's nearly lunchtime. I'm gonna go drive to Burger King again, I think, and get my double cheeseburger.
So do you say Sheen? Because I've heard it pronounced Shine, Shane or Cheyenne
I
or
don't know.
whatever.
I call it Shein, but I don't
Shine?
know what other people call
Shine?
it.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Anyways, well, that's what I'm in the process of doing now. Dee Dee's helping me put together what they call a capsule, whereas the last 10 or 15 years, I've kind of just been
Ooh,
ordering stuff on Amazon, like stretchy jeans and black hoodies and black t so I think
yeah.
I'm ready to become human again and kind of get
Oh,
back out
love
there. And
that.
I don't want to
Well,
be a designer or whatever posh or Temu guy, but I would kind of like just to be a human again.
love it. I love it, Shibby. You're really coming out of your shell.
Yes,
See, there's good
and Dee
stuff
Dee's
that comes
helping
from
me.
Delphi too, isn't there?
Yeah. Yes, Dee
Like,
Dee's helping me
like
with that. So,
because I think for a lot of us, like for me, as much as this case is really, really sad, it's given me a whole new lease on life too, in the sense of it's like it's inspired me so much to finally do the stuff I've wanted to do. I literally bought a camera to do videos for psychology related stuff like over 10 years ago, and I've never actually done it because I felt too perfectionistic and insecure. And so going into Delphi has helped me to go, okay, I really just want to talk about stuff, so I'm going to do it. And then it's also helped me feel like I'm so Ash, who's my good friend who was on the panel, says that I have something called transpersonal karma. She's very into spirituality, and so like my whole goal in life is to continue to try to support other people. I know that sounds cliched, but it is, and it is my goal. And so this just, it feels so meaningful. I just love it. Hey, Mother of Dragons, lovely to see you in here. Another
wow.
lovely
Hi,
loyal person that comes to our chats and comments on our videos.
hi, Mother of Dragons. Nice to see you. 73. Is that Mother of Dragons 173? Okay. Because
Yeah, I've
I
seen
thought,
Mother of
like,
Dragons saying some really positive things, and yeah, or every positive comment like
cool.
literally goes straight to my heart. Like I know I need a lot of validation. As I've mentioned, my wound
Mhm.
is feeling not validated. So yeah, thank you so much, everybody.
Well, this is good. I mean, because it helps people, but also you and I will benefit from this too. So
That's
it's
exactly right. We have. I think we both have, and you can see the difference. I
yeah.
think, like we said, even in the way that we speak, like the mood, the improvements in mood. For me, the improvement in confidence. I used to be someone who would just give up if people didn't like me, and I would roll over and just get depressed. And now I'm being like, no, I've got my Katy Perry roar in me. It's like, no, I'm going to speak up. I'm going to, set boundaries, and I'm going to keep backing myself a lot more, which I actually think I really needed to do because I hadn't done that for the majority of my life.
Well, that's good. And if you ever in the future want to just have a show where it's just it's like psychology and us talking, I'm totally in.
Well, it seems like that's the vibe here today. So yeah, we should definitely
Yeah.
I think maybe what we'll do, we'll maybe set up like a schedule moving forward, particularly over the summer because I'll have a lot more time, and we could basically like have a little schedule. Like one's a live chat that's just like this, where we're just talking with the chat and all sharing. It doesn't have to be fully Delphi related. Maybe that'd be a nice one. So I might set up a little bit of a series of doing some of those.
Free love and therapy. I'm totally down.
I love it. I love it. Well, Daisy asks,
Cool.
in the picture, the whatever logo for it, it says true
Yeah.
crime and curiosity and psychology. So yeah, and I wanted to actually update it. I wanted to say compassion as well. So yeah, absolutely. We
And
don't just
and
talk about true crime.
I think your numbers will go up more if you put a reference to your new co-host.
Who's that?
I'm not sure. He's a mysterious guy, but I think
Yes,
he's
I,
great.
I do. I will update the thumbnails and put you in them, Shibby. I did the first few
Mm,
times, but then I think those thumbnails are bloody getting on my nerves, like because it's so hard to make
No,
them. So they all look the same after a
I
while.
I like the color. I like you adding the color and just putting our names and just kind of it's good and having different ones instead of the exact same one because when people see all your lives, having a variety is good.
I know. I mean, when I look back at the first ones from just a few months ago, the ones that were like
Mhm.
literally look like
Right,
PowerPoint slides, I'm like, what
right.
was I thinking?
Right. Yeah, that's pretty plain. But adding some color and just a name or our names, or even like when Cryptex was there, if you put his little yellow
I know,
guy,
I
it would,
should have. I should have
you
put
know,
his little yeah, I
you,
realized that afterwards. So yeah, I think now we need to do that. I mean, I think it's they're moving forward. There's definitely an improvement over time. Initially, there was no thumbnail.
Mhm.
Then it was the very ridiculous one that just looks like I'm doing a presentation, a PowerPoint presentation. Then now I
Right,
like the color scheme. I like the fluoro colors because that's me, very me. And the
right.
bridge is
No,
usually in them so people know when it's about Delphi. But when it's not about Delphi, yeah, they can just be other images. We can put Daisy's picture in the background too.
right, right. Like I'm trying on my channel now. I have like 87 subs, so I'm actually
That's
trying to make
good.
thumbnails, and I uploaded all the videos you let me upload, so
Well,
it's
drop
looking good
drop
for
the
me.
link to your channel, Shibby, in the chat.
Ooh,
If anyone wants to subscribe to Shibby, for sure. I mean, maybe a lot of people in
no,
the chat
no.
have already done it, but still, always good to drop it.
I will be going live. I've had that urge actually because a few nights where say like now when you end, it's still early for us. Like it's only
Yeah.
8 p.m. for me. So I'd wanna if I'm in a great mood like this, I might just go live
I
myself.
reckon you should. You take over, yeah, you take over from this now because I like, yeah, for me, I have a limited time because I've got the kiddos to pick up. The school day is just not long enough.
For us now,
So
this is
yeah, a lot of
perfect
the time
timing.
I've got to, and also technically I'm supposed to also be doing some admin and work stuff, but we'll get
Well,
there eventually.
see,
But yeah,
and for me also, there's no NHL hockey on tonight too. So I would definitely love to do that.
well, why don't you do it, Chibi? I'll listen along because I'm going to go to Burger King and get myself
Ooh,
some junk food. I'll listen. I won't come and chat with you, but yeah, for
ah,
sure, I think you should do it.
I don't know if I'll do it tonight.
Okay, okay.
I think we've had enough here, but
Look at all these
I may.
people. They all want to listen to you.
Oh, jeepers. Wow, I shouldn't have said nothing.
No, you should. And also anyone else who wants to come on with us as well. Hebby, I know you were thinking of dipping your toe in, so you're always welcome, Hebby. Let me know. Definitely join in and come and chat with us. Particularly when we're doing these shows. Like sometimes when we're doing the more content heavy stuff, it's probably not good to have like 5 different people in here because that's good because already I interrupt Shibby enough. But yeah, when we're just doing this, I think it's nice to have a panel of people, right?
Yes, yes, it is. And also, I just noticed I have 89 subs now, so I've picked up two
Ooh.
people from yesterday at least. So I just
Well,
put
there
my
you
thing in
go.
chat. So
Well, I mean,
if you want,
that's
if you like
awesome.
someone who rides Amy's coattails and is going to try and put out more content and get better, come subscribe.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, this is how we've all been working though. Like 'cause for me, I got my big break from Diana and Prof, and then
Mhm.
you kind of have to know someone initially a lot of the time to get the initial subscribers coming in because otherwise you get
Right,
lost in the YouTube algorithm. Doesn't matter how good your content is, nobody cares because they can't see it. So, yeah.
right. Well, just I think it was 3 or 4 weeks ago, even a month ago, I had like 20 to 30 subs. But then I went on, I think yours and Dee Dee's and Prof's,
Yeah.
and all of a sudden and people want like Heather suggested that people subscribe to me because if I got over 50 people, I could go live, and now I'm at 89. So
Oh,
who
that's
knows?
right. You need a certain number. You're right. You need a certain number to
Yeah,
go live in the first place. Yeah. I mean,
50,
I remember those
50.
days too. And like when I started and I was like 24 or something, and it's gone up. We're at 6:45 today. Like I can't even believe it.
Wow, wow! I'm gonna have to get a camera.
You are. Well, yeah, I do think that makes a difference too, because I think seeing a face makes people want to, it feels more
Oh,
personal. And I've always explained to people part of the reason I don't, sometimes it's when I'm reading stuff, I turn it off, but also if I don't feel particularly presentable, I don't
right.
come on camera.
Plus working the StreamYard and all this stuff. Also, you know what I did that was smart? I was worried about if I shared my screen that I would show maybe something I didn't want to show, like if I had a tab open or a picture on my desktop that might not have been
Yes.
something I wanted people to see. So what I did was on my Windows computer, I made a separate account called Shibby, and I log on to that, and it's only good stuff. It's only Delphi, StreamYard, YouTube, and photos that I want, and maybe no other photos that would maybe embarrass me. Not that I have any, but just in case there is something like that.
Yeah, you do have to be careful with that. I mean, look, with the sharing a tab, it's a little bit easier because it literally comes up and says share this tab. But yeah, with other media, I'd be a little bit more careful because yeah, if you did have something you didn't want to show, like it might just be like a family photo, or I mean, for me, it could
Mhm.
be I don't ever want my work stuff obviously shown on here because that's confidential. So I have to
Well,
make sure I
yeah,
keep it very very separate.
Even just the names of some of my folders where I keep certain things um, might embarrass me.
Oh, well, this happened with poor Dee Dee, right? Like somebody was being cruel and posted her search history that was
Wow.
showing up in one of her lives, and it was something like hemorrhoids or something. And for anyone who saw that, do you know why she
Oh
searched
wow,
that?
yeah,
For
yeah.
somebody else. She was searching, like, she's a health professional. Like,
Right,
so this is the
right.
thing. People then read into your search history as though it's really me. And even if it were, even if she did have hemorrhoids, who cares? Like, that's a ridiculous thing to make a
Mm.
joke about. But in that case, it was literally like, as health professionals, we're always searching. Like, you know, our clients, even though we're psychologists, our clients sometimes have health issues as well. I know, heavy,
Plus,
right?
plus,
This is the cruelty that
plus,
we see
since
online sometimes.
since Dee Dee's not here, I could say that there was one time we were doing a live. She was doing a live, one of her first ones, and she forgot to turn her microphone off, and but went to the washroom and was
Oh,
in there for
God.
5 or 10 minutes, and she played it all, and there was kind of just some, noise. You could hear things like a dribble, dribble, and her washing her hands and singing to herself in her bathroom, and she thought she wasn't, because she had her ear pods on and she didn't mute herself. So when she get back, I told her, I said, Dee Dee, you've been, for 5 or 10 minutes, I've been listening to you go to the washroom. She's like, oh no. And then what I did was she said she's going to delete the live, but before it ended, I went back and I screen recorded it. So I told her I have it.
You one of those people, are you, Shibby?
I thought it would just be funny, not in a creepy way, but now I joke about it. But I literally have a 10-minute video of it, of my screen recording. I recorded a video of it. I went back. So now I tease her with it saying, I've got something on
People
you.
screen record everything. And I mean, that's the thing. Like, you know, earlier I was going like this and I was like, oh, like, because I've got allergies and I'm like,
Right,
oh, people are going to think I'm
right.
picking my nose. Like,
Well,
you know,
yeah, if they pause it at the right time and screenshot, yeah, they can catch a weird photo of you. But hey,
and they can
that's
go out
just
of.
what
Well,
some
you
people
know,
are going to do.
YouTube does this. I've laughed with this about Adrienne before. Like when my shorts come up, and it's like the thumbnail it picks, you're like, what? That's the silliest photo. And Adrienne was saying the same thing happens to her too.
Well, it's just like Prof saying, "Clip this, bitch." Like what you can clip things to make people sound much worse than they really are. Like, for example, the Joe from Crime Night years ago, those trolls used to clip him saying stuff, and he was using a hypothetical talking about certain things being happening to certain ballparks and stuff, and he was just saying it as, "Watch, this is what they'll clip," and me saying and try to make it look like I'm saying it, and they did that, and the whole other side of the community, Delphi, just listened to that clip and assumed he was saying bad things, and so yeah.
Yeah. Yep. Exactly. I mean, that's the thing. You clip anything out of context and it can sound really, really bad because, I mean, particularly when people are joking around as well. So, yeah. Okay, well, I'm going to
Hmm.
log off in a minute. I was just going to see if we could find little Kai Kai to show you. Spooky's hiding behind a
Oh,
chair.
cool. Yeah,
Let's see if
let's
we've
see
got
him.
Kai Kai around. Are you under there? Yep, there he is.
Oh,
There he is. He's working undercover, literally. There he
it's
is,
like
my
Wizard of the
undercover.
Oz.
Oh, can you actually see him?
He's,
I don't know. I don't think I can get
yeah,
to
I
him
see his
now.
paws. I see
Yeah,
his
there he
paws.
is. This is the undercover digital expert. Oh,
Ooh, I just got a good name. He's
there you go,
hey,
Spooks.
you call him,
Spooks, say
he's the
hello to
wizard. Uh,
Spooky.
Kai is the Wizard of Paws. There we
Yeah.
go.
I know
Because
I.
he's really underneath
No,
the bed there. He's running the show like the Wizard of Oz behind the curtain. Kai is running the whole show underneath there. He's got his
yeah.
computer, his mouse, and he's got a walkie-talkie
Yep.
headset on. He's talking to all his crew. So he's
And he took undercover literally. That's why he's under
mhm.
the covers, under the bed. And you never see Lulu because she is the teleprompter. It's
Right.
not because
Yeah,
she's hiding
they're
in one
behind.
bed, the other bed. It's because she's a teleprompter. That's why you never see her.
I, I think it's good to show behind the scenes the real stars, the real people of the
Yeah.
show.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, yeah. So we're sitting up here in the bedroom. I was laying on the bed, so it's very professional. With the cat under the bed, the dog's now licking his paws or a toy. There he is. Okay.
So the dog is spooky,
That's
and
spooky.
we got Kai is the cat, and Lulu was
Lulu's the other cat that you never see because she's a scaredy cat.
okay.
There,
So
this is
Kai
spooky.
and Kai
You're
is
so
spooky.
famous. You're so famous.
You know, the funny thing with dogs is she's a she, right, or he?
He's a he. So
Sorry.
Lulu and Spooky. Oh no, Lulu's a girl. The others are boys.
Okay, so Spooky knows, and I think dogs know more, even cats, but dogs, they know you're talking to somebody, but they can't see them, and they're like, who is this weird person talking to?
Yep. Yep. I
So,
was just
and
thinking,
I guess,
speaking of Cryptex, because I just saw Mustang's comment. So, Cryptex's female dog, looks so similar to Spooky, don't you reckon? I reckon they could be
right?
like a great couple. There's
Plus,
Spooky.
Spooky can hear me,
You got
right?
a girlfriend. You got a
Spooky can,
girlfriend. Oh my
Spooky can hear me,
God.
right?
That is so amazing.
Spooky, hi, Spooky,
Oh gosh. Oh gosh.
Spooky,
And I mean, he loves kissing, that's for sure. It's a big kisser.
hi,
Look.
Spooky.
Ah,
Can you hear
Spooky.
me?
Can you hear?
Spooky, hi, Spooky.
Yeah.
Hey, it's
Spooky.
Uncle Shibby. Oh, he
Uncle
does.
Shibby said
Hi,
hi.
Spooky.
He said
Hi.
hi. Hi, Spooky.
Oh,
Hi, Shibby. Hi, Spooky. I sometimes get your names muddled up. Shibby and Spooky.
oh,
Hi.
hey, your next pet, I think you should call him Shibby or Shabby or
Meow.
Shabby.
Hi, everybody. I'm a talking dog.
We have to get
Oh,
one of those apps.
that's what I used for Kai the other day, and I'm going to use it for Spooky as well, and we'll make a funny video. Hello, everybody. I know all
Cool.
about digital forensics, so if you need some help, give me a call. Bye.
Bye, Spooky. You're a star, Spooky. We love you.
All right, Shibby, I'm going to go because I need to go
Yes.
eat. Thank you so much for
Yes.
everybody who joined us. Like, wow, what a lovely live, unexpected, lengthy live. But I hope that everyone enjoyed themselves and felt nice and cozy in our chat. It definitely felt that way. And thank you for the people who sent the super chats. Like, I just can't even, like, that's just amazing. Thank you so much. And
Yes.
I will do the forensic unicorn chat eventually, one day.
Hebby, special thanks to Hebby and Nicole and TJ for the super chats and all our helping mod too.
Yeah, you guys just were amazing. Is Carol in here? I didn't see Carol.
Where's Carol? Carol's not here.
But thank you to everybody as well. Like, honestly, there are so many friends in this channel. I can't even like stop and say thank you to every single person because there's so many of you now. Like, you're just amazing. But I hope each and every one of you know that you're all super, super important. Like, and yeah, I've met so many amazing, amazing people. Yeah, Carol is here. She is here.
Is she really?
Yeah, she's just
I
showed
don't
up.
see her. Oh, hi, Carol. I'm in
Sorry,
your
Carol,
closet.
we're about to finish up, but thank you for coming in and saying hello. All right.
Carol?
Well, I'm going to go because he's literally licking my leg and it's quite annoying. So, love and light to everybody.
Okay.
Have a wonderful day. And I'm going to probably not do a video for the next couple of days, but you know, I always say that and then something comes up. I'm going to probably do like the little videos that are little explainers, not lives, just because I probably need to do some other stuff that I've been putting off, other work stuff. So, but I will see you definitely on the weekend, and Shibby and I will make that very fun video of us making fun of past Sammy.
Yes.
I think that will be fun.
Critique.
I
Yes.
love laughing at myself. So there's plenty to laugh at when it comes to me.
And
So
hopefully you can put a filter on so you can at least have some cool cat ears or chipmunk voice or something fun.
I'll work on it. I'm pretty sure I can do that.
Yes.
If I can make a cat talk, I must be able to do that. I'll work on it. So maybe we'll do that on Sunday my time, Shibby, actually, because that gives me plenty of time. The boys are not with me on Sunday, so yeah.
I can't wait. Sounds like a great time.
Bye, my lovelies, every one of you. Thank you, everybody. Bye.
Thanks, guys. Bye. Good night.